The Jake Asman Show will begin shortly. Thanks to all these great Patreon members who help support the show. Get your super chats ready. Jake will be here in just a moment. If you love the New York Jets, this is the place to be. And now, the Jake Asman Show.
Will the Jets bounce back Sunday in Tennessee? We'll talk about that and much more with our weekly guest. Will Parkinson joins us, so let's hit it and get it started.
Man, our Jets are primed for a historic season.
Great game. I know Aaron Rodgers did well tonight. Look, it's only one game. Everybody's complaining that the season's over. Week 2, they're playing Tennessee. We're going to win. I guarantee that they're going to win 37-29.
We bleed Jet green each and every day. This is not the same old Jets. We have Aaron freaking Rodgers. We have Garrett Wilson. Let's go. We have Breece Hall. Please subscribe and hit the like button below. Super chat, baby. Cut the line. We have Sauce Gardner. We have Quinnen Williams. The Jets bandwagon is loaded. Now it's time to talk all things New York Jets. It's the Jake Asman Show.
Here we go, Jet fans. Welcome in, everybody. Make sure, if you haven't done so already, you hit the subscribe button on the right-hand side and help us continue to grow. And, of course, click the thumbs up button. That's the like button that helps this channel as well. Reminder, we're running it back on Sunday at T-Squared Social in New York City. Our second regular season watch party. Party starts at 12. Kickoff for Jets and the Titans is at 1. I know the Jet fans are going to bring the energy as we look for the Jets to bounce back and get their first win of the season. I will see you at T-Squared on Sunday. Joining us right now is a good friend of the show. He will be joining us every week throughout the Jet season. We say hello to Will Parkinson. Will Pa, welcome aboard. And I think this is now what? The third season you and I are making this happen every week. So thank you again for coming on, and can't wait to hopefully be talking about way more wins this time around than certainly what we've done the last few years.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me as always. The watch party looked awesome. Obviously, unfortunate result of the game, but always love hopping on with you, man.
So we'll start to look ahead to the game Sunday with the Jets and the Titans. But when you think back to what you saw from this Jets team on Monday, I know you went back and watched the film. What are some of the things a few days removed that stick with you that really stand out from this game?
Yeah, I'll start positive. I thought Rodgers got better as the game went on. I think he shook off some of the rust. I think he started to trust his Achilles. I think naturally, can you blame him? I mean, as much as the joint practices were good, and I think throughout camp, you saw him start to trust it more and more and looked like pure vintage Rodgers, even his movement by the end of camp. And then I kind of felt like during the beginning of the game, it was kind of tensed up. He hadn't been hit. He talked about it. And, I think that fourth play was a big deal. Of course, they fumble on the fourth play, but it was a big deal, or fifth play, whatever it was. So I think watching Rodgers get better as the game went on, he'll start to trust it more and more. I think you have a lot to build off of. The arm's still there. The pass pro was pretty good. I thought overall, especially against a really, really impressive defensive line, the pass pro was pretty good. Rodgers, I think, was hit two or three times and sacked once, or 4 times and sacked once. That's not bad. They can definitely live with that. I thought other than that, it was a lot of their best players kind of played. I'll use my one expletive here. Most of their best players played like shit. Breece, pretty awful Breece game by his standards. Pretty bad AVT game by his standards. AVT's caveat is this guy's coming off a torn Achilles also, and we haven't talked about. It's really hard for an offensive lineman to just jump back in there. Again, he's a guy that'll get better as the season goes on. Morgan Moses, not his best game, coming off a torn pec, to be expected. Tyron Smith in a new system, was good, not great, to be expected. I felt like overall the offense, the play calling wasn't great, and then a lot of guys that are looked rusty early on. Although the offense, again, scored 3 touchdowns. Lazard had the drop, but again, the 2 touchdowns. So, there's that. They didn't get the tight ends involved or Braylon Allen at all, which was perplexing to say the least. And then I think on defense, probably Jermaine's worst game that I can remember, at least maybe since he was a rookie. Sauce was good, but, obviously the weird incident there. DJ Reed was up and down. Michael Carter's injured, but I thought played well overall. The safeties weren't great. The defensive line, not Quinnen's best game, although he was doubled. Like, not a great Mosley game, not a great Quincy game. It just felt like there is so much talent on this roster amidst some of the New York sports radio, no offense to some of the lazy takes, apparently, that Jets fans have, according to some Giants legends, that, no, this roster is not actually good. Well, no, the roster is awesome. And I think part of the problem is that when you have a great roster and the coaching's a bit of a question, you need the roster to play well. And coaching wasn't great, for sure. But the Jets' elite talent, generally speaking, had an off day. Like, let's just be honest about it. And I don't, it's something that is going to change. It just feels like when you don't get the defensive stars all don't play well, and they're kind of put in bad spots, and most of the offensive guys are rusty. Like, you get against a buzzsaw of a team, this is what happens. So again, I'm not overly concerned long term. I just felt like it's two things, Jake, and I'm curious what you feel on this. Is, and I obviously watched you and Joe yesterday and a bunch of stuff, like, because it's week one. If you're kind of can take a deep breath, it's great. This is week one. Kind of humbles you a little bit. Rodgers has always been a slow starter. Look at every year of his career. Look at that Bucs team in Tampa with Brady. The whole thing, right? Like, the easy arguments to be made, like, get this game out of the way. But also it sucks because the fan base is so excited, so amped up. Great training camp, 246 days since the last game and 610 days basically since Rodgers last played a game. You're so amped up that it's so disappointing. So deep breath, fair to be frustrated, concerned, but also this is week one. It's always their hardest game. I think everyone was like, if you can steal one here, great. If not, you're always on to Tennessee. And I think hopefully you see those guys again.
My big thing was, I'm not ashamed they lost. Like, if you're going to look at the schedule, this was a game most people, when you did your record predictions, chalked up to an L. I think it's the way they lost that's so disappointing, right? Just seeing the defense play poor. That said, this kind of reminds me of the Dallas game last year or the Bengals game 2 years ago.
There's the Dallas game, but the Jets could score points.
Right. It's like just an uncharacteristically poor performance by a defense that I think, even with some of the changes up front, we're still talking about a defense that has 8 of its 11 starters back from last year. So, like, I don't think Sauce Gardner, CJ Mosley, Quincy, Quinnen, etc. I don't think these guys, as Kyle Brandt, your buddy, put it on Good Morning Football yesterday, Will. I don't think these guys just forgot how to be elite players, So I think it was a bad game, tough circumstance, tough environment, and they deserve the benefit of the doubt. That said, they do need to fix the run issues because this was a problem at times last year. I thought the coaching was too slow to adapt. The Jets should not be dominated like that. So I hope it's just 1 week. It's an outlier and they put it behind them quickly because this is now supposed to be the soft spot of the schedule where they should be able to get right, even with some of the difficulty, travel, right? 3 games, 11 days, all that. This is a big game on Sunday to kind of see where this coaching staff's at and really see where this team is at and to show the ability to bounce back after a tough performance on Monday.
Yeah, the Jets landed Monday morning talking to some people in the building that were on that flight. They got back at 7 a.m. You know what I mean? Everyone went to bed, pissed off. The fan base, the guys got on a plane and came back, treatment at 8 a.m. and they're back on the wagon. It's going to be a hard stretch here, and they have the mini bye before Denver, the next 10-day kind of break there. I think everyone will kind of catch their breath. Look, again, I think you made the great points there. It's how they lost, not necessarily that they lost. I think if they went out there, I think I predicted 23-17, they lose. And, I think McCaffrey going out. It's funny. I almost feel like McCaffrey getting injured kind of hurt the Jets in this aspect of sometimes Kyle Shanahan's a big overthinker and sometimes Robert Saleh is not. And actually it works to their advantage. I actually think by McCaffrey going out, the Jets overthought everything. Oh, they're going to try to throw the ball around now. They're going to totally misjudge the way Kyle Shanahan was going to operate. And then Kyle Shanahan did the opposite, didn't get ultra super creative. It was just I'm going to punch you in the mouth over and over and over again, as opposed to kind of spotlighting McCaffrey as much. They kind of just leaned into Devo as a running back and Mason. And, we're going to go two tight ends, 12 personnel and just try to bully you. And it kind of felt like the Jets were in this weird spot where they didn't want to get beat with explosives, but ended up unfortunately playing some lighter boxes. They got beat in some run game stuff. So yeah, the run defense has got to get fixed for sure. I think naturally it'll get fixed by just not playing the 49ers, but way too much Michael Clemens. I came on your show during camp. We said it last year, like he was awful. And the problem is it's not about like beating up on him as a person or anything like that. He is not good at the point of contact, and he's not a good pass rusher. So like I don't really get the point of you being out there other than like you're heavier than some of these other guys. Would like to see maybe some Leonard Taylor be activated, at least bring some juice as a pass rusher on potentially early downs. Obviously Lucky Fotu not being there, though I don't want to like overrate how good Lucky Fotu is. I think he's a fine like run stuffer. I don't think that like you're getting Chris Jenkins in 2008. Like I just want to set the expectations when he does come back, whatever. But I just feel like almost Saleh and Ulbrich, who have proven as a defensive coach, they will make adjustments and they will get this figured out. That's why when Saleh says like, trust me, like defensively, yeah, you should trust them because they've had top 5 defense the last couple of years. It just felt like they overthought things a little bit, in my opinion. And Saleh talked about it, and you see it on tape. Jermaine did it a bunch of guys did it. They almost like were cheating to try to get to a spot first, in a sense of like, oh, we know what's coming. And then the Niners are patient. Their running backs are patient. Their offensive line, their blocking schemes are kind of relying on you to lose kind of your discipline, lose doing your job. And if you miss 1 or 2 tackles, when, you need to wrap up at the point of contact, they didn't. You see what happens, right? Those 4-yard runs, those 2-yard runs turn into 8, turn into 10, and those are backbreakers. And the offense just wasn't on the field enough. Obviously, I think Rodgers played 38 snaps, if I'm not mistaken. The starting defense, 72, I believe, or 71 snaps. Like, it's a huge advantage. Rodgers the least time possession he's ever had. And again, I just feel like it was that Dallas game last year where it felt like the defense was just methodical 9-minute drives where, like, even if you hold them to 3, it's so frustrating. There's so much pressure on the offense. And again, the offense scored points like that. This wasn't 40-3. This was just a game where like the defense held them to 3 a lot, but the drives were so long that the offense had no chance to survive. And look, they're on to Tennessee. And again, I think you made a great point. It's not necessarily that they lost, it's how they lost.
If you're watching live right now, please make sure you hit the like button. If you're not watching live, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. If you have a question for Will or myself to answer, write it in the chat. And of course, if you super chat it in, it will cut the line and we will get to it first. I want to go back to, Aaron Rodgers and this offense, Will, because I do think when you look big picture, the reason why I think you have hope for this team is because, of course, you feel like you have a quarterback. And when you look at Rodgers in his first game back, I think so much of why this team did not win on Monday had very little to do with him. Right. We talked about the time of possession, but, I was talking about this with a friend of mine last night, my friend Dan, like just in like real time, how little they had the ball. Like, think about it. The Niners had the ball with that long drive right before halftime. Then you have halftime. Then you have an 11-minute drive to start the third quarter. Like there was like basically like over an hour, almost 90 minutes between like when the Jets touched the ball on offense to when they then touched it again in real time post halftime. It just, they never got going in a rhythm. They need more plays. And I think that's why it's so tough to like talk about, well, they need to spread the ball out more to other players besides Breece and Garrett. Like, yeah, that's true, but they really never had enough plays to do that. Like, I think this week will be a much better idea on, what exactly this offense is going to look like with Aaron Rodgers going forward.
Yeah. I mean, look, you'd like to see the tight ends involved. You like to see 2-back sets. You like to see more design plays, more design plays to Garrett. I thought, again, it's not that Breece was bad. I don't think he was particularly good. Obviously, the fumble, the drop, I just didn't feel like he was hitting the hole as hard as he normally does. And again, there wasn't a lot of space. It's not all Breece's fault. Like, it's not like he was like this awful player. He just wasn't the alien that we know Breece can be.
Yeah, the pass protection was good, but the run blocking didn't feel like they had a lot of holes.
It felt like a lot of lunging, a lot of Niners either beating guys to spots, Jets are slow off the ball, or there was a couple of moments where like AVT lunged in the run game to get out there. That's a guy who hasn't played football in a really long time and like game speed. It's just the reality of it. I'm excited to see what the offense kind of looks like. Rodgers will look more comfortable this week. He's now gotten hit. He's moved around. He's going to start to trust it more. Again, getting Garrett involved. A lot of camp being out there. There was a lot of motion, a lot of Garrett in the slot. We only saw 12 snaps of Garrett in the slot. I'd like to see that a little bit more. A little more Mike Williams. It looks like he's did some cardio out there and stuff. Maybe try to get him in early target, see how his body's doing. obviously it's nice with Lazard. Corley played 1 rep. It was a blocking rep. I feel like Rodgers getting Conklin 6 catches for like 50 yards that are all just like 6-7 yard chunk plays. And I know it sounds crazy, but like 2nd and 3 is a lot better place to be in than 2nd and 8. Like it just is. And then you can start to run the football on 2nd and 3 and get Rodgers, pass, run, pass, as opposed to run, pass. Like that to me is just the one concern with this team. I think long-term is Rodgers checked out of some of the plays on that long drive, not all of them. I just would like to see kind of a little more. I'm not asking for McVay and Shanahan's offense. I'm not. First of all, we've had that here, and it didn't, unfortunately didn't work because of the quarterback and some of the talent here. But look, I'd like to see a little bit more creativity and maybe just some diverse personnel or just some emphasis on yes. Brees and Garrett are amazing. Like, I'm not saying don't get them the ball. I'm just saying, like, you have to like integrate some of the other pieces to free up matchups for them. You can't just be like, here's what we're doing: toss right, toss left, Garrett Wilson on 3rd down. Like, maybe it works on sometimes, but defenses are going to try to take those guys away. And look, man, give credit to the Niners. Like, Nick Bosa's former defensive player of the year. Fred Warner is going to walk into the Hall of Fame and is in his prime and was a cyborg on Monday night. Like, the film's insane. Like, if you watch Fred Warner, it's like watching a legit cyborg. So again, I'm not trying to just make excuses for the Jets. Like, they had to be better, but I'm just thinking like they played like a D+, C- game as a team, and the Niners probably played a B+, close to A- level game, and like that's not the recipe for getting it done when you're in San Francisco.
Let's talk about Haason Reddick. Your thoughts on where we are with that? I mean, there was so much made on his leverage and things now changing for him, and here we are. It's already Wednesday. No sign of Haason Reddick showing up. Jets, to our knowledge, have not changed their stance on we won't negotiate with a player that's not in the building. So I kind of feel like the Reddick stuff, it gets interesting when we get to another game or two here, because if the Jets win their games and they're 2-1, all of a sudden this perceived leverage that Reddick has this week, it's all for naught. You lost one game to a non-conference team that might be the best team on your schedule you play all year. So what are your thoughts on the Reddick discourse and where we're at with that?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like both sides are pretty dug in. So, like, it's going to probably take the Jets caving at some point. It's just crazy for Reddick. Like, the more these game checks start to go on, like, I don't know, you're not really recouping any of the money at some point. Even if he gets a raise, like, he's just going to get back. Like, right? Like, if the Jets moved him up to the Khalil Mack 19-20 million for this year, like, he's already lost, $5 million? Like, you're right back to the 14.5 you were going to make beforehand.
And he's hurting his ability, you'd think, to make more money by, I don't know what type of shape he's in. I don't know if he knows the defense. Like, the best thing for him would have been to show up, get your game check, and then start balling out. And look, you're upset with your money, but you have a chance to make more money when you're an unrestricted free agent at the end of the year. Yeah, it seems like his party as a whole, not just him, is pretty dug in. Yeah, look, Reddick would have helped. If they had JFM and Reddick on Monday night, is it 23-19? Probably. Like, those two guys would have made a huge difference. They wouldn't. JFM's not getting run at like that. And then obviously from a pass rush perspective, Reddick is obviously a better pass rusher than anybody they have, let alone, I love Braden McGregor and Jalen Holmes and these guys, but like, we obviously know what they are. So I just think that, like, damn, Curly is negative, man. My Lord. I just, it's like every time I make a look to my right, it's like a comment of everyone sucks. Look, I think they would have made a big difference. And I'm not saying it would have made a difference in winning the football game, but it would have been a heck of a lot better. And I think, again, maybe the next couple of weeks you get away with it because the quarterback play is pretty bad and everything like that. But like, you go play Buffalo, do you really want Michael Clemens playing 60 snaps? Do you that's where I start to get a little bit worried. And, unfortunately, teams are going to keep trying to run the football on the Jets until otherwise kind of proven that they can stop the run. And we'll see how they do this weekend, obviously. Do you think he plays for the Jets this year, Will, or is he so dug in that he doesn't even want to be a Jet? He doesn't care about the money at this point. He might end up regretting it years from now, but in the moment, he's so dug in, feels so slighted by whatever he thought the Jets told him when they made this deal that he just won't show up at all, and money doesn't matter. Yeah, I have a hard time believing he's just like sitting out the year. I mean, I guess I don't see who's trading for him at this point. So the Jets don't seem to be inclined to do that. So I think he plays for them. I just don't know. I guess it's probably after the Patriots game where there's that 10-week period and it's like, all right, man, it's week 4. Figure it out. I mean, I think people in the Jets were expecting him to be in the building on last Tuesday, a week ago, and be like, all right, man, here we go. I get it. You set out. Let's figure it out. But right now, I don't know. It's just no one's saying anything.
And then like the weird Josina Anderson, like, oh, maybe they should just trade him for Devontae. I was like, where did that come from? I think that's like, the whole thing is just a bit odd. And it's like, there's just hard to predict what's going to happen because we just never really seen this before. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like there's precedent where like, all right, we knew with Trent Williams, like it'd get figured out, or we knew with Ayuk or Jamar Chase, like this stuff will get figured out. We've seen it a million times. Star player holding in, making a big deal, the fake injuries on the injury report. These guys are going to get paid, right? Like we know they always figure it out. With this, like, it's just, I don't know. Like, he's literally never shown up. The Jets seem so stuck in their ways, which I don't know. We don't negotiate with terrorists in like kind of stance in the Jets is really weird. And then the Reddick situation where like, I'm not reporting until you like give me a new deal. Why he's losing all this money and being stuck in is crazy. So unfortunately, the situation feels like as much as Monday night was not good for the Jets pass rush, maybe things change. I hope things change, but I don't know like what. There's just been zero that's like come out on either side that this thing is going to get solved anytime soon.
I mean, the thing is, if the Reddick camp was banking on one loss and the Jets cave, they didn't look at the Jets schedule where they're going to be a favorite in their next 4 games coming up. And that's the only way I think he gains leverage if the Jets really do struggle against some teams they're supposed to beat, or, God forbid there's an injury to a Quinnen Williams or Jermaine Johnson, which thankfully didn't happen week 1. And I expect the Jets will, as we kind of look ahead to this Titans game, I expect them to start bouncing back. So it doesn't appear like anything's happening here with Haason Reddick. We'll get to the Titans game in a moment. Today's Jake Asman show is being presented by our dear friends at, you guessed it, The Perfect Jean.
Trust me, you'll never go back to your Levi's after you try these. The Perfect Jean is known for its unique denim fabric that stretches for comfort when you're on the go.
I want to feel comfortable in my jeans. The Perfect Jean provides a size for everyone.
You can literally choose the color, style, and size. It doesn't get any easier than buying these jeans.
Do yourself a favor and stop wasting money on jeans that you'll stop wearing after one wash. Get the Perfect Jean.
That's right. I got a promo code. Use promo code Asman15 when you go to the Perfect Jean website right now, and you'll save 15%. Folks, these are comfortable. They're flexible. You've heard me talk about how I don't like tight clothing. I don't like clothing that, for lack of a better term, makes your nuts all crunched up. All right. The Perfect Jean has basically rescued 700,000 pairs of nuts. That's right, Bobby Midnight. That's 2 per dude, by the way. So check it out. The Perfect Jean. I swear to you, that's part of the slogan here. I'm just going to relay it. It is a comfortable pair of jeans. Simple enough. So many of you probably need to buy new jeans. You haven't done it in years. Do it right now. You'll save 15% using my code Asman15. I have it linked in the description, so check it out. Head over to the Perfect Jean website right now and use that code. Take full advantage of the discount. Get yourself comfortable pair of jeans. There's also free shipping. They have exchanges. They have returns. You could have a peace of mind knowing your order is completely risk-free. Once again, check it out, The Perfect Jean, and use promo code Asman15 to save 15% on your order. Let's bring Will back on the show right now as we look ahead to the Jets and the Titans on Sunday. Will, for the Jets to win this game, obviously the defense needs to stop the run. The Jets offense needs to have longer than just 20 minutes of a time of possession. That's the obvious stuff. What else needs to specifically happen, though, when you kind of go through this matchup? How do the Jets bounce back on Sunday?
Yeah, I probably should have used the negotiate with terrorists today of all days. That was a bad analogy, bad time even analogy, but it's an analogy I've used for the last 6 weeks. Look, in terms of how they get better. Look, I think again it's getting the offense turnover. Will Levis, you should be stacking the box. There should be 7-8 guys in the box. Sorry, I trust Sauce Gardner to go guard Calvin Ridley. DeAndre Hopkins on one knee. I'm not scared of the Titans' weapons from that perspective. And I think, from Tony Pollard and Tajay Spears are nice players, but they're not, this Titans offensive line's bad. So great coach, but it's not a good offensive line yet. So it's taking advantage of that. Robert, I just said it was a poor choice of words, man. For the 3rd time, I don't need to keep harping on it. In terms of offensively, it's maybe change up things, whether it's, we're passing on 1st down, whether it's some play action stuff, trying to get Rodgers on the move a little bit more and trusting how, seeing if Rodgers will trust how things are going to go with his ankle. it just feels like maybe some two-back stuff. Maybe if you're going to go heavy personnel, like try to do something different with heavy personnel, not just like splitting out Tyler Conklin and and Jeremy Ruckert on third down. It's so I just, to me, it kind of feels like it's not a lot of terribly hard fixes. It's like turn Will Levis over, make him beat you, and on the defensive side of the football, the offensive side of the football, I don't know, get Rodgers in more possessions. Try to, try to get him out on the move a little bit. Maybe try to run between the tackles at points. I know Jeffrey Simmons is a great player, but like him and Tavondre Sweat are going to clog up the middle. That's great, but like then they get them moving side to side. Like they just feels like it just feels like this isn't something that like you need to do something so crazy. It's more of like, let's not be the most predictable offense in the league and then let Rodgers change out of plays, get him in positions. He talked about, obviously, that third down, dig route to Garrett Wilson. He changed the play there and different things. Like, give him the ability, do that. And again, take a deep shot to Mike Williams early on.
How about playing more than 9 plays? Like they treated this game on Monday like it was a preseason game in a lot of aspects.
Yeah, I think they kind of just, in some ways, it feels like, and Connor Rodgers made this point, I think on Badlands, like, kind of feels like they just showed up and were like, oh, we're going to win. It's like, nope. Like, I appreciate it, but let's like go in with a little. I think they got humbled a little bit, and as I mentioned, I think we'll see what happens, but I feel like the Jets should be in a much better position to get something done and start building some momentum here, going into the New England game.
Hit the like button if you're tuning in. If you have a question for Will or myself to answer, super chat it in. We're seeking more channel members as well. We're trying to get enough members so we can add a channel emoji for each of our esteemed weekly guests, Will Parkinson included. Will, it was tough to find a good headshot of you, so I hope you approve of your photo in this one here.
I look tan at least there, so I'll take it. It's better. I don't look quite as good as Joe B or Savo or Boy Green, but we'll have to take it.
You're gonna lose your gosh darn bananas, baby.
I know, my gosh darn bananas, and with those jeans, he can save my gosh darn bananas.
There you go. All right. Comments, questions, super chats for Will. What do you make of this Titans team, right? Like when you look at Will Levis from year 1 to year 2, I don't know if there were massive expectations for him, but they were kind of like I almost feel like no one talked about the Titans at all this offseason. Like they had the one day where they surprised everyone inside Calvin Ridley, and then that was like kind of it. They took an offensive lineman in the first round. So, there was some talk about, Bill Callahan will be able to work some magic there with JC Latham. What do you think of this team? Like, to me, the Jets definitely need to go in there and they should dominate this game by the second half. Like, I think the Jets, from a talent standpoint, completely overmatched the Titans. What's your take on that?
Yeah, look, the Titans had a really weird offseason. They spent like a crap ton of money, whether it's on L'Jarius Sneed, obviously Calvin Ridley. They spent money on DeAndre Hopkins last year. They've paid Jeffrey Simmons. They bring in Quandre Diggs at the end of the offseason. Obviously, draft guy like Tavondre Sweat, JC Latham. They draft Skoronski last year. They spent a ton of money on Lloyd Cushenberry. They spent money on Tyler Boyd. They're kind of this like weird roster that is guys that are either really young and are going to get better. Then they have like Sneed in his prime, which is great. I'm sure he'll be locked up on Garrett Wilson the entire game. And then like, I don't know, they signed a bunch of like over the hill veterans for huge money. And it was like, oh, that was kind of weird. Yeah, I guess they have Jamal Adams too. Jamal Adams revenge game, although I don't even think he played last week.
He was out. I don't know what his status is for this week.
I don't know. He seems to have always gotten hurt since that injury in the second year in Seattle.
Oh my God.
Hurt all the time.
Dude, how great would it be if he plays and Garrett or just absolutely torches him on a Rodgers touchdown?
It would be, Twitter would be an absolute zoo, or X, I apologize, would be an absolute zoo. I think the Titans roster, again, has some nice pieces. I think Brian Callahan's going to be a good coach. I think Bill Callahan's an excellent an offensive line coach and run game coordinator. Jet legend. I just feel like overall, the Jets' talent is far superior. I think Tennessee is 6-11, 7-10 written all over. And again, home opener for them. You got to be careful of that momentum and trap game a little bit before the Thursday night, kind of the Patriots game. This just feels like a game where like the Jets are good at the same spots that the Titans are at, and then they're better at spots the Titans suck at. And frankly, like Levis has shown some decent things at times, but he's reckless with the football. He wants to be a superhero, and we saw it lost him the game. I mean, the Bears had like 148 yards or 149 yards of total offense and scored 24 points. So at the end of the day, like, no excuses. You go in there and you win these next 2 games, and you go into Denver 2-1, at home, and then with the Vikings coming up, like, everyone kind of expected, hey, you might lose week 1, week 2, make Will Levis beat you. And if he does, and Will Levis goes out there and goes 31 of 36 for 400 yards and 4 touchdowns, and the Jets lose 31-28, like, hey, man, like, that happens, I guess. But anything other than that, being able to, go into that game and not execute on special teams, not steal a possession or 2, and then offensively, getting, the Jets did a good job of getting 7, not 3, and a lot of different possessions. But, when you get in an opponent's territory, making sure you come away with points no matter what. So, yeah, I expect the Jets to kind of approach this game as like, all right, full reset. Let's go get a W, and let's go back home, for 2 here.
And I just feel like, Will, when it comes to this defense especially, they have too many great leaders, too much pride, too much of a high standard.
David, Malik Willis is on the Packers, man.
Yes. Yes, he is.
He's
probably starting this week. But the point I was making about the defense is just there's too much pride there for them to me, not bounce back and play well. I'm not saying they got to be the 86 Bears on Sunday, but I think we'll see a much better tackling effort. I think the Jets missed 18 tackles based on some of the, advanced stats you could look at from the game. I expect that to be cleaned up. I think they didn't play in the preseason, and maybe they were a little rusty, and it showed with some of the fundamentals.
Yeah, looking back, the defense probably should have played a couple series in the preseason. Not the offense. The defense actually probably should. We didn't talk about that a lot, but just from a tackling perspective, bring guys to the ground is a different scenario than it is in even in joint practices when you're hitting people, but not, fully full speed.
No doubt. Super chat here from AD. He cuts the line. And my blinder was Quinnen Williams, MIA for long stretches on Monday night.
It wasn't a great Quinnen game. He had 2 or 3 moments, but I don't think he was special by any means. I just feel like he played some edge. Everyone around him played like crap, and then it's a good at going against the offensive line that got 2 hands on him or 4 hands on him at all points. So yeah, I don't think he was peak awesome Quinnen, that's for sure. But at points made some, try to make some impact. It's just he can't do it on his own. It's harder, it's hard as an interior guy. If you're either going to take up a bunch of blocks and get doubled 3 other guys, and those guys didn't make plays. So I don't think he was great by his standards, but he's the least of my kind of worries with this team overall.
Yeah, he's someone that I think you just trust. He's going to be Quinnen Williams. It also will help if they stop the run and have more opportunities to really rush the passer too. Then he can. It
would help if the guys next to him did their job as well, because rushing, you rush with 4 and it's guys, everyone doing their job, and we've seen Quinnen takes up 2 blockers. That means in the years past, Bryce Huff, or it means Jermaine Johnson. These guys are 1-on-1, and if you're 1-on-1, you got to win your matchups. Quinnen is not going to. You can't eat up. He won some of his matchups. Again, I don't think he was special by any means. I just think that he was fine. And he wasn't great, but he was fine, and that's okay. It's just if everybody else around you also plays like crap, then it's going to make you stand out more.
All right, we have a super chat here from Tony, who says, "Well, thank you for always having even-keeled, level-headed takes. Some of these sky is falling week 1 fans are worse than fans of other teams. #Jet up."
Thank you, Tony. I appreciate that. I'm not trying to be to blow smoke up anyone's ass and say that everything was all good on Monday night, but at the same time, it is week 1. Week 1's a huge liar in the NFL. Last year, the Jets, and the way Saleh phrased it, of course, could have been phrased better, but yeah, of course I feel better leaving, this morning and yesterday morning than I did, on 9/12, last year.
A year ago today was, it's coming up on the time up. A year ago today was legit the worst moment in many of our Jet fans' lives.
Yeah, it was horrible. So but the thing is, you felt great about the rest of the roster last year, leaving week 1. You were like, oh man, if we could just get Zach Wilson to play like Case Keenum, the Jets can make the playoffs. This is hey, all things considered, there's a chance the Jets are 6 or 7-1 in the next 7 weeks. That's the thing where I just feel like the expectations haven't changed, and I don't think they're a title contender at the moment. I think they're a really good team and a playoff team. They could get there. It's week 1. Again, Rodgers teams historically start slow. It took Brady's Bucs team. They were 5-4. They played the Chiefs, And then after that, they rattled off 6 in a row and dominated in the playoffs. Like that's I guess what they rattle off, it's technically 10 in a row and beat the Chiefs by 20 plus points in the Super Bowl. Like, we see these things happen. Rodgers lost by 5 touchdowns, got benched in week 1 of 2021. And against the Saints, lost to Jameis Winston. Rodgers looked terrible coming off the MVP year. Oh, then they went 12 or 13, in a row and ended up being, I believe, the 1 seed. And, Rodgers won MVP again. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm also just saying that, like, Miami looked like crap for large portions. They got lucky the Jaguars blew that game. Arizona had every chance to win that football game up in Buffalo, and Buffalo's at home playing inferior competition. New England, I think played mistake-free football, and the Bengals beat. Like, no one's talking about the Bengals this morning or the other morning saying, hey, you lost to the worst team in the NFL at home. Burrow looked terrible. Like, just Rodgers start slow. This is a rusty team. It was always going to take a few weeks to get going, and the Jets have an opportunity here against Tennessee, who's fine, New England, who's probably not very good, Denver, who's probably not very good, and Minnesota, who is spunky but kind of middling, similar to Tennessee. Like, these are 4 very winnable games. I think 3 of 4 is the goal. I think anything more than that is obviously gravy. And go out there and take care of business on Sunday. People will be extremely excited going into the home opener. The biggest thing, and I'm sure you said this yesterday and the day before, like, they got out of there with everyone healthy and avoided damage, where CJ Mosley, for a second, you're like, oh my God, here we go. Michael Carter, here we go. Sauce Gardner, here we go. Aaron Rodgers gets hit, here we go. Wasn't that like the whole thing? Like, hey, have Rodgers show something, get out of San Francisco healthy, and get on to the next 4 games. In reality, that did happen. It just is, again, frustrating because they, get up 7-3 and they're rolling, and they, first two plays out after the touchdown, it's 3rd and 5, and you're like, dude, they get the ball back here. They're going to go score and go up 14-3 and win this game. I think it was kind of that almost false hope that you got, which was unfortunate, obviously. But again, golden opportunity on Sunday. Another grass field, another road game, and then you come home for 2 at home. And I don't know. If I watch these 3 teams this week, if week 1's a liar for the Jets, I actually think Tennessee was kind of lucky that they went up against Caleb, who's going to be great. But man, the other day was rough for Caleb.
So I'm a big, fan of showing charts on this show, Will. And here's a positive Jet quarterback chart that I couldn't even tell you the last time in the history of the show. I've never been able to show a positive Jet quarterback chart. But this came out this morning here. I want to go through it with you. So it highlights week 1 quarterback accuracy and average separation that the quarterback was throwing into here. And this chart is significant because you look where Aaron Rodgers is at the very top, right next to Patrick Mahomes. So even though the stat line for Aaron Rodgers doesn't like blow you away, right? 13 of 21, 167 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. What you could see from this chart is the accuracy by Aaron Rodgers was as good as any quarterback in the league, which I think is a positive sign for a guy who hasn't played a full football game in a year and a half. And what you could take from this chart as well is that they really need to get Mike Williams involved in this offense, because you need someone besides Garrett Wilson to be able to separate and get open. It's good that Rodgers can find guys and throw them open, but this is not the greatest look for Nathaniel Hackett in the offensive scheme. Guys got to find a way to get open, but at least a positive chart from this standpoint. Rodgers pinpoint accurate as any quarterback in the NFL in his first game.
Yeah, like I said, I think by Rodgers standards, I think it's, if you went by normal Rodgers standards, he was like a C+, B-, right? In terms of just like, he was good, he was fine, like he didn't do anything bad. Obviously, even the interception, could have thrown it slightly better. The 4th and 1 could have been slightly better. Definitely got a little happy feet rush in the pocket at times, but also special. Most guys in the league can't make it. It was super accurate a bunch of the times. Obviously, the genius of some of the calls to the line of scrimmage, etc. I just felt like, to me, coming off an injury, had not played a full game in 610 days, had not played more than 4 plays in forever, so much pressure, so much hype, and he held his own. Like, I think this was like this was a huge get over the mental hurdle game. The Jets almost need to see, like, get them getting humbled, take it for what you will. I guess some people would say it's not a good thing. I think it is a good thing, essentially, to be like, okay, see, guys, like, he played, everyone's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like, now go figure it out. And, like, don't stop reading your press clippings a little bit. Stop kind of worrying when the other shoe's going to drop. This is like now kind of nut crunching time. Shout out one of your sponsors. But like at the end of the day, I just feel like Rodgers was accurate, and he'll only get more accurate. He will only get better. Like the 2 drops, the one kind of miscommunication with Garrett, I don't know, was he 14 to 17 at that point for 200 yards and no picks? Like watching it back, like he was not anywhere near a concern for me. And if anything, I actually think there's so much meat left on the bone there that you're extremely excited for what's to come, whether it's against Tennessee, New England, Denver, and obviously Minnesota.
If you want bonus content, your name in the intro, and most importantly, Discord access, you have to join the Jake Asman Patreon. It's patreon.com/Jake Asman Show. For less than a cup of coffee a month, you get all these perks plus 15% off every item in the merch store. So if you ever plan on buying any Jake Asman Show merch, make sure you sign up for the Patreon first, because then you're basically getting a month of the Patreon for free, because you're going to save more than $5 with that discount code in the merch store. It's patreon.com/Jake Asman Show. I want to give a huge shout out to some of our most recent Patreon subscribers. We couldn't do it without you. Big thank you to John Marchese, who signed up for the year, Peter DeLauro, Rianne Condor, Scott Grossman, and Victory Monday for being our most recent Patreon subscribers. Ladies and gentlemen, it is officially membership gifting time, baby. A 5-spot of channel memberships from the great Keith Best. Keith, we're the ones who should be sending you money, not you gifting memberships to others. You are the man, my friend. Thank you for your support. The following 5 people are channel members now: JJ Vittori, Rick Fisher, Keenan Good, Bobby's Hairy Old Nuts. Sorry, Bobby, that's the name. I'm just reading what I'm told here. And Chris Cortez, our most recent channel members.
Bobby's Hairy Old Nuts. Nice.
Very hairy. Yes, that is the name. Comments, questions, super
chats.
People
don't call him Bush Bobby for no reason,
apparently they call him that. I'm just learning about all this. Lane's got a great question. How are you doing, Jake Asman? Lane, I'm doing well. Lane says the Jets have to move the football down the field. Will, what's your take on that? If the Jets win Sunday, if they bounce back, are you predicting they will move the ball down the field?
It's big if true. It's a big if true. Look, I think it'll be interesting to see, I guess, without responding in like a condescending way. In all seriousness, it'll be interesting to see if the Jets are able to, kind of put together more long drives. Is it going to be something that is like a, kind of more an explosive offense on Sunday? Is it more the, kind of longer 12, 13 play drives? I'd like to see the defense, I'd like to see some of those longer drives from the aspect of keeps the defense off the field, especially if the Titans are going to run the football. Obviously, look, if you're the Jets, you want to get up early. You want to get up on this team early because you're going to force a lot of staff to throw the ball. Part of the entire point of how good we thought this defense could be was like, we knew, and this is not new with the Jets, like when they get down, it is difficult to keep teams, they're going to be less predictable. You want to keep the Jets defense wants to keep teams in predictable settings, which is what they've done against teams like Buffalo and Philly and KC and things like that. When they start to have to throw the ball the entire time, like they start to turn people over, people make mistakes. I just think that, something that they've struggled with is like you get down early, slow start. You want to start off fast and, be able to put yourself in a good situation and move the football in these long drives. Rodgers picks you apart. It's like kind of demoralizing. That's kind of the reverse of, I guess, what you saw from the 49ers on Monday night.
I want your take on this. So a lot of Jet fans were panicked after Monday night. Not the Lane train. Your thoughts on this breakdown?
Great game. I know Aaron Rodgers did well tonight. Look, it's only one game. Everybody's complaining that the season's over. Week 2, they're playing Tennessee. We're going to win. I guarantee that they're going to win 37-29.
Now, 29 is a lot of points. I want to preface that. But if the Jets offense puts up 37, that's going to be a hell of a time at a watch party I'm hosting on Sunday.
Yeah, I was going to say, I guess you probably take, 37 points over giving up that much. I think we're looking at more of like a 24-13 win, 24-16, something of that nature, where the Jets are mostly in control. The Titans have a few moments that scares you, but they clean up, get home. They win 24-16, and then they, I think they go back to MetLife and win somewhere in the 26-7, 26-10, kind of level range against New England. So I expect them to be 1-1 on this show on Monday at 4:00 or whenever. I think that's when I'm on. Expect them not to get butt raped and physically dominated. My Lord. Yeah, I do think at the end of the day, like they put up 37 points. That's fantastic. I hope they win by 20 points and I hope it's a thrashing, but I'm kind of on the opinion it's going to be somewhere like that 24-16, 26-14, somewhere where like kind of the reverse of what we saw, on Monday night in terms of defense is better, bend don't break of sorts. And then the offense, more thorough, kind of longer drives. They turn Levis over for maybe some points at some point, whether it's a fumble or, a pick, maybe a special teams player too. By the way, Xavier Gibson's got to be better in returns. One of them he took out. I have no idea why he took out of the end zone. Didn't even get back to the 30. And then one of the other ones, it just didn't look great. So I'd like to see, I don't know, figure out a way to maybe let Isaiah Davis run one, get Corley back there. I don't know. I just would be interested to see like Gibson, has had moments, but sometimes it's like kick return wise, it's a little frazzled. So they got to be a little bit better on returns as well.
Curly, who's unhinged this morning, wrote, Lazard dropped the first pass on third down. That set the tone for the whole game. Don't care what he did after that. I vehemently disagree. Lazard dropped the pass on third down. It killed the drive. I mean, okay. I mean, the Niners didn't score after that.
Frustrating for sure. Like I get
the Jets led 7-3 in the game. It was the problem was the defense, man. And after the Brees fumble, by the way, the defense actually held up. They held him to just 3. Like, it was a bad job by Lazard on that play, but to his credit, didn't affect him. He had a really good night. I'll give Lazard credit.
Yeah, look, I think that Jets, like, he's never going to be like the most efficient catcher of the football. It's never been his game, right? Like, see the same thing. Oh, Lazard doesn't separate a ton. Like, dude, he's never separated a ton. I don't know what player you watched in Green Bay. He had a nice game on Monday night. Do I think that he was the best player on the field and like that drop wasn't frustrating and annoying? No, of course not. Of course it was annoying, but 89 yards and 2 touchdowns or 90 yards, 2 touchdowns. Like, that's great, man. Like, do it again. If he has one drop and he scores 2 touchdowns, like, I'll live with it. Again, it's annoying. It was a momentum shifter. It felt like it was kind of disappointing to have this first drive end like that because it was a good play call, a good throw, etc. But yeah, like I'm not gonna. He's not the guy that like I'm gonna beat up on. Does he have to catch that ball? 1,000%. He didn't. He ended up responding and playing much better throughout the game, and that's good to see. That's kind of what I'm going to take from him. I try to take the positive, not the negative there.
Hit the like button if you're tuning in. Comments, questions, super chats. We'll cut the line. We got a few minutes left with Will. This is a question from our guy, Pittsburgh Mike, who says, Will, can you speak to teams like Kansas City last year, Cincinnati this year, losing week 1 and bouncing back? It really even goes beyond that, too. I mean, the Brady Buck year, they got destroyed week 1. They were 5-5 and then made their run. We've seen this a lot. I'll go back to the 2010 Jets. They played awful Monday night against the Ravens. I mean, Dustin Keller is still sore from that hit by Ray Lewis. Then they bounced back the next week and beat the Patriots at home, and Sanchez was awesome in that game. So, I mean, it's 1 week of a now 17-game season, and this was arguably the toughest game schedule-wise that you had to deal with all year. So if they lose to the Titans, it's a different conversation, but I believe in the talent and the pedigree of this team. I think they'll find a way to get it done Sunday.
Yeah, I think the expectation was be 3-2 or 4-1 going into Buffalo, and that's like not like that's changed. There's no reason to think that they couldn't do just that. Yeah, look, again, like teams lose in week 1, teams play crappy, teams play amazing. Not to be a dick. Sam Darnold's rookie year, the Jets went in, throttled the Lions. Darnold looked amazing. You're like, dude, his team might be amazing, X, Y, and Z, and they come home and they get spanked around by the Dolphins in their home opener. Like, we've seen it in years past. The Jets beat the Bills last year with Zach Wilson and then lost by a gazillion points to Dallas. It's worked the other way, where you lose week 1. The Jets lost week 1 to the Ravens, got spanked around. I use this example, and for somehow I get tripped by it, but I'm sure because it has to do with Zach Wilson, and if you bring up Zach Wilson, somehow they, whatever. Like, the Jets did nothing, got beaten up by the Ravens week 1, home opener this day 2 years ago. They then won 6 of 7 games with Zach Wilson and Joe Flacco against a much harder schedule. And everyone's like, oh my God, the Jets are 6-2 and they play in New England. Like, and that team was nowhere near as good as this team is. And the quarterback was way worse. So, and the schedule was harder. I just don't know where we get to like this point where I understand the expectation is playoffs, potentially a Super Bowl for sure. They don't win a Super Bowl in week 1. They don't lose a Super Bowl in week 1. the end of the day, the Jets have to be better on Sunday. They know it. We all know it. There's no reason to continue to belabor the point that they were bad on Monday night. They were. They got their ass kicked. Robert Saleh said it. Kyle Shanahan said it. The players said it. Now go see if they're going to respond. But to be out and down on this team already, it's like, man, come on. Like, I understand, I've been a Jets fan for 100 years. Guess what? So have I. And I understand, and not for nothing, like, I never saw a Super Bowl when I was alive. I want to see one. I think we all want to see one. At the end of the day, like, it's not about what you look like in week one. It's how you look the back half of the year and going to the playoffs. The best way to put yourself in good position is to take care of business these next 5 or 6 weeks, 7 weeks, whatever it is. By the New England game, I think was at week 8 at New England. Do you really not believe that they couldn't be 7-1 by that time or 6-2? Like,
that's what's crazy, right? It's like all the people trying to write off the Jets, and it's like, I guess they haven't looked at the schedule coming up. Like, this is the Jets have the 4th easiest schedule in the league going into the year, and now you remove the Niners, your hardest game, it's even easier.
Yeah, I don't get, like, I understand the doom and gloom a little bit, but, like, I don't know. I'm not a Mets fan by any means. I tried to, like, tell Mets fans, dude, they started the year off, they were horrible. But, like, guess what? It's a long season. Winning games in April, as you can see by the Yankees, let's see, does that really matter as much? No, let's just, obviously baseball is 162 games versus 17. But the point being, they're long seasons in terms of once a week versus every day. The Mets are now one of the best teams in baseball and have had one of the best records in baseball over the last 81 games of any team in the league. So just like patience a little bit. Like, it's week by week. It's already Wednesday. Let's wipe it and move on to Tennessee. Very winnable game on Sunday. Very winnable game on Thursday. Very winnable game the following Sunday. And then, as much as I'm a huge Sam Darnold person and love him and all that stuff, like, Sam's very up and down. Kevin O'Connell likes to throw the rock around. I don't know. I feel like let's maybe ease up on the doom and gloom. The Jets lost in 98 in San Francisco and gave up a gazillion yards on defense. Did they not?
They were actually 0-2 that year, and then they finished, 12-2.
Right. So interesting. Interesting how those things work. Last time they opened in San Francisco, they went to the title game. Let's see if history repeats itself. It will not be in Denver, though. I can tell you the title game. No.
And also, I would love for them to not go to 0-2 because I can't deal with another. At least it's a short week, but I
forgot how awful this app and the talking points around the Jets are when they lose. It's truly incredible.
Ladies and gentlemen, Craig in Australia using his Asmaniac super chat writes in, Will Parkinson in the house. It means I get the feeling it's time to get the rain started. A 5 spot of channel memberships from Craig. Yeah! Oh, baby. Craig will be in the house at our watch party on Sunday, Will. He's coming in. He's attending the watch party, and he's going to the Jet home opener the following Thursday. So I can't wait to be with Craig and everyone at T Squared Social and the home opener. But here are the 5 memberships that Craig gifted. They went to listener JB, Julio Kelly, thanks for the cheese, Meatwad, and Bronx Farrell's Queen. Congrats.
Meatwad, baby. A lot of meat talk on this show today.
We're a big meat show. We really are. I know you got to run, Will, so quick super chat at the buzzer here from Curly. He says, I apologize for my over negativity. This franchise has abused me and warped my mind. I will be more positive when we win the next 4 games. That's fair, Curly.
It's all it takes, Curly.
I know you're a real Jet fan, season ticket holder, but it's just like every day the worst. And he's just like, we have a head coach with slow. It's like, I get it, Curly. They played poor. It's frustrating. There's 16 more games, man. You're gonna mentally destroy yourself if you react every week the same way to a loss.
Hit some hot yoga, pour yourself a tequila, woosah, hang out with the family, the kids, etc. Come back on Sunday when they win. You'll be ready, raring to go in this thing. Super chat and Jake and doing an awesome job.
I love it. Will, give people an idea on what's coming up content-wise for you.
Yeah, had the recap pod out yesterday. Me and Mike Giardi will be on All 32 tomorrow, previewing Sunday's slate or the weekend slate as well. Then TOJ pod Thursday, I guess tomorrow as well. And Saturday, TOJ talks. So got a lot of different stuff coming up. Have some film breakdowns, have some obviously big time guests and different things like that. And then if you're going to be at the home opener and you're not with Jake or for whatever reason, come say what's up and we'll chop it up and talk in person for sure.
Will, your tailgate's usually near mine. I'm an L5. Where are you again?
Yeah, I usually like L17. But I might change it up this year because 5 years in a row of being in the same parking lot in the same spot. Probably
L5.
Yeah, probably got to change it up.
Let's make it happen. He's Will Pa. Make sure you guys listen to his podcast. Check him out. Will, really appreciate it, man. Thanks for popping in. First of many this regular season and hopefully a deep playoff run.
Hopefully Monday at 4, we're talking 16-1.
Let's go. Will Parkinson, check it in. Turn on the Jets is the podcast. Check it out. Will join us starting next week, as he just said, Mondays at 4. Today, obviously, we adjusted the schedule because the Jets played Monday night. So we're going to have Beningo on Monday mornings, Will Pa Monday afternoons after Jet games. Sable will join us on Tuesdays. He's actually going to be joining us tomorrow in the afternoon because we had to change things around. Jeff Parles will, in fact, be with us in his normal time at 4 p.m. Eastern this afternoon. Nick Farias tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern. Fireman Ed, who's going to the game in Tennessee. I was texting with Ed this morning. He'll be doing his appearance with us from the Newark airport before he gets on his flight to Nashville Friday morning. So we'll get Ed for you on Friday. And then the guy who always loses his gosh darn bananas, Boy Green, will join us Friday afternoon at 4 p.m. Eastern time. Bunch of you are on hold, so we're going to come back. We're going to take plenty of your calls. I did want to play something, though, that I think is certainly something you would hope the Jets defensive staff takes note of when they review the film and look ahead to the Titans game on Sunday. This is from Dan Orlovsky on his Twitter account last night. I thought it was worth everyone's time seeing, so I pulled the clip. This is Orlovsky going through some of the film from this game Monday night and specifically talking about the issues the Jets defense had stopping the run. I hope Robert Saleh and company, they notice the same thing and they adjust because this is not good. So warning in advance, but certainly something I want everyone to see.
By no means am I like some kind of defensive lineman, okay? But I do know this, just from an offensive perspective. What pops out for me just from the vantage point of an offensive person is if you're going to align like this consistently and almost help the angles of my blocking displace your defensive line and get to your second level guys, I feel great about it. I mean, this 2nd and 6, I'm going to either run or pass situation. I look at this, like look at the width between that nose and that end. This is almost a 2.5 body gap. And now maybe the Jets are like this because of the cut split of San Francisco and so often they pin down here. But I do think you're playing into my hand lining up like that. I mean, my center goes basically untouched up to your backer. And because of that stem by your defensive line, my right tackle goes up, like I walk to the linebackers there, same with Kittle. That alignment to me as an offensive person, I'm going, all right, thank you. And I get it. I get that we stress as an offense. I'm going to stress you with your D lineman here or there. But I just look at that and I go, man, they got displaced. They stem that way. Okay. As an offensive person, I'm going, thank you very much. That's easy for me. That's wildly easy when it just comes to alignment, but then also like that movement. Second quarter, 10:52. I'd say something relatively similar. There's that wide alignment again. Look at the space that I have here. Now they don't stem, but I want you to just watch how easy it is to get to that second level. I mean, that's my goal when I'm running the football is get up to that second level. See how wide that is? And it's stand up. Easy for my center to get up. Easy for my right tackle to get up. Just because of the width. One was second down. One was first down. And I know that's kind of who the Jets are with their DNA and the width of that. Now, maybe they have to change against a team like San Francisco. Maybe that's going to have to be an adjustment. But like, there's no restriction. I feel I've always heard defensive guys say, man, we got to find ways to get people off of our backers at the second level. And that just wasn't there. I mean, get up into. I got guys getting up to the second level as an offensive person by the time the backs got the ball. So I think that more than Rodgers, blah, 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 this and that, like my vantage point as an offensive-minded person, that's something the Jets really would have to look at.
I mean, it's not good. It's not good. I don't know how the Jets weren't better prepared. I mean, chalk it up to just a bad game, or they were so worried about the Niners' weapons that they overcompensated with the alignment, as you saw there. But I think if you're the Jets, like you're Robert Saleh and Jeff Ulbrich, trust your corners. You got the best corner trio in the league. If you got to put them on an island at times, I'll live with it. Because you couldn't get gashed in the running game. You just never had the ball. Rodgers never had the ball enough. I mean, it was not good. It was a bad job by this coaching staff, and it can't happen again. Ladies and gentlemen, Gustbuster Umbrella Hotline is open right now. And let's say hello to a guy who will be joining us on Sunday at T Squared Social. It's our pal Craig in Australia. Hello, Craig.
G'day, mate. How are you?
Look at that mic, Craig. Wow, you're stepping up.
I was somewhere recently. I was buying stuff for my daughter's 21st. I had to get a smoke machine, lasers, and everything. I'm like, check out this mic. It was on special. I have to have it. So I'm going to need a bit of feedback on the audio quality. I don't know how to adjust it. I don't even know if it's working. The light's on.
You look good. You sound good. I love it.
Yeah, man. I was sick as well, so I've recovered. And it was good to get sick before going away, because now I'm not going to get sick when I am away. So it is Wednesday night here, and on Saturday we're going to be over the Pacific on United Airlines drinking margaritas on the way, and we'll be in Midtown Manhattan by sort of late afternoon Saturday. We'll be at T Squared on Sunday. We will be in Vermont on Tuesday to do a live show with Bobby and retrieve the orange lawn chair. So I've booked the car and everything, and amazing. I'm currently taking suggestions on what I need to do with this lawn chair on the Wednesday before I have to give it to Nick Shine on Thursday to get it back to Bobby. So I've got lots of ideas. I'm gonna be on the subway sitting in it. I'm gonna be on the red steps at Times Square sitting in it. I'm gonna come up with everything I can. And Sarah had the best suggestion so far. She said, "What in the tailgate, Mrs. Craig can sit on it, and we can all lift her up and carry her around."
Yes.
So far, this is the best suggestion I've heard, but I'll leave it to the geniuses in the chat to give me some ideas. And
we need like a calendar shoot, Craig. Like I want you sitting in the orange chair all over the New York area, and we put together the Craig in Australia orange chair calendar.
I'll be in Central Park on that chair. I'll be in the Rum House. I'm going to be absolutely everywhere. It's going to be epic. And then Thursday we'll be in business. So I'm confident about Sunday. I know everyone said lots and lots of stuff about the first game, but just seeing Rodgers, drive down the ground and passing and everything, it was still awesome. Disappointing to not do better and not have the defense better, but yeah, it's just week one, not fussed about it. Cannot wait to meet so many more people on Sunday. So get to T Squared, people. I want to meet everyone. It's going to be insane. We can't get there quick enough.
Craig, it's going to be like when the Beatles arrived in the U.S. when you show up at T Squared on Sunday. I mean, you're going to get quite the pop from the crowd. It's going to be great.
Maybe. If you need a co-host, let me know, because I do MC events on the side. Happy to do it. But I've walked past T Squared and seen it. Yes, and of course I'll be in the orange lawn chair in Alden's. That goes without saying.
Oh, that's 100%.
I mean, yeah, I probably didn't have to mention that one. So we've got 360 people watching, and I think I can see 164 likes. So come on, people, help a man out, help a brother out. Smash the like button, join the Patreon, get on the Discord, come to T Squared, do everything. You can do it.
Craig, you're the man. Hey, if I don't get a chance to talk to you verbally, outside of the Discord, safe travels. We can't wait to have you back in the United States, baby. Craig's coming home. Man.
This was considered an early call for me, so I had to stay up and jump on. Because I won't talk to you now probably till Sunday, but can't wait. So look after yourself, man. It's going to be,
I'll be ready.
Brilliant.
I got the boomerang ready to go, baby.
Hey, we're bringing more. Don't you worry. We're bringing more. We're bringing all sorts of things. Got an epic gift for you. You wait.
Craig, you're the man. Thank you so much.
Take care, brother. See ya.
Craig in Australia. Love that. Can't believe he's coming to the watch party. He'll be at the home opener, which will be great. So it's all happening. Craig's going to get quite the crowd pop. We got Craig. We got V-Man. We got a who's who of people coming to the watch party Sunday.
V-Man is here. How we feeling?
Hi, okay.
Thank you for that, V-Man. V-Man was, in fact, high as a kite, by the way. Don't worry. Hit the like button if you're just tuning in. There's 370 of you watching live. Thank you. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, make sure you do so. We talk Jets every day, twice a day. We're back this afternoon. Jeff Parles in his weekly spot. I'm going to start talking about this now. The post-game show will not be immediately after the game this week. I will be doing a post-game show. It will just be on ESPN New York. I'm hosting from after the Met game, so figure like 4:30, 4:45, or 5 to 7, and then I'll get you guys a post-game show shortly after that. So it'll be a little delayed. So enjoy the 4 o'clock games. Listen to me on the radio, and then we'll come back and do the YouTube post-game show for Jets Titans. But I will be talking about the Jets Titans on the radio. So if you want my immediate thoughts on the game, put on 880 ESPN New York or download the ESPN New York app and hit the listen live button. That easy. Just giving you guys a heads up for Sunday. Comments, questions, super chats. Jets Chaos says, I could create a chart that makes me the sexiest man alive. I'll tell you what, you probably could, but we wouldn't believe it. I believe in this chart. All right. I see Aaron Rodgers' accuracy being as good as any quarterback in the league, combined with the fact that there wasn't a whole lot of separation. But this is what quarterbacks have to do if you want to be good. You got to be able to throw guys open. And we saw Rodgers at times do that, which I think is encouraging for a guy who hasn't played a full game in a year and a half, right? I mean, that's a big deal. That stuff matters. Ladies and gentlemen, more of your calls. We say hello to Jerome, the Packer fan. Hey, Jerome.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? What's going on?
Jerome, it sounds noisy by you. Where are we coming at from today?
I'm downtown Chicago, going to my doctor's appointment. Then I still got to go in and clam in that rig after that. But yeah, man, it's a new day. As I was telling you guys yesterday, sometimes you run into a buzzsaw. San Francisco is a buzzsaw. And we've already, even though I would have liked to have seen you guys, we rallied to see you guys try to win yesterday. You have to know that loss was already accounted for. So all we got to do is go 4-1. Going into that Bills game. And I think the Jets will make the necessary adjustments. But here's what I would have liked to have seen. Just like Ayuk and what was it? What's that other guy on the 49ers that was tearing us up? What's his name?
Mason?
Debo.
Jordan Mason?
Debo, yeah,
Debo.
Mason and Debo. This is where we should have counterpunched. That's why I would have liked to see us utilize Corley. Because if we couldn't stop their run, we could have at least offset it with one of our weapons. Let's get them to try to stop us. And we could have used Corley just like they was using those guys. And let's kind of see where we are. But that comes with coaching and making adjustments, knowing when to make adjustments on the fly. Other than that, yeah.
Jerome, there's like a crime scene going on behind you, man. It was tough to hear you, but I appreciate it. I don't think Corley's ready for the role that you're talking about yet. I don't think they have the confidence in him. I think they want to ease him in. Now, I would play him more this week, though. I mean, Mike Williams only played 9 snaps. Can they play him more? I think he's more important than Corley at this point. They got to get him going. I'd like to see that. Nate says they found Scott. Maybe they did. They found the robber. It might have been Scott. Open phone lines for anyone who wants in on the show this morning. Thanks to everyone who's watching live. We'll be back again in the afternoon, of course. Mr. Reality says, Jake, are you really hitching your wagon to that damn chart? Come on, brother. Talk about the real issues, not some damn silver lining. A couple of things on this. One, did you just tune in? Because I've spent the last 3 days talking about the issues this defense had and some of my concerns there. So that's horseshit, for one. And two, it's not some damn silver lining. A silver lining was, well, the Jets won week 1 last year. At least they won a game after they lost Rodgers. That's a silver lining. A slim one, but that's a silver lining. Me talking about Aaron Rodgers in his first game back in a year and a half being the most accurate quarterback in football with Patrick Mahomes is a pretty substantial deal, okay? And it backs up what my eyes told me watching this game, that I thought he was pretty good despite the stats not being overwhelming. So don't tell me it's a silver lining to talk about the most important position in sports and a guy who hasn't played a full game in a year and a half, looking at times like vintage Aaron Rodgers. That's a pretty big deal. This season means nothing if they don't have a quarterback. So don't tell me it's a silver lining to highlight the fact that the Jets actually had some pretty good quarterback play for the most part in this game on Monday. That's a big deal. Maybe you're not used to it because you're a Jet fan, but I don't know if you know this. Quarterback play is important. If Aaron Rodgers plays like how he did on Monday the last 2 years, this team has been in the playoffs the last 2 years. That's why it's a big deal. You're not going to play the Niners every week. Please. Ryan says, get Reddick in the building. It's time. I mean, Reddick's also got to want to be in the building. And I just wonder at this point, is he so dug in that he just doesn't care about the money? He will lose all the money, doesn't care, just so he doesn't have to play for the Jets because he feels so slighted, so wronged. I mean, I wouldn't think so, but at this point, how do we not at least consider that? Because none of this makes any sense. I mean, it's just annoying. Devin writes in, we will be fine. This team will be better. I hope so. I think they will too. Peter says, doesn't matter what week it is. They're never prepared. It's BS to your job. I wouldn't say they're never prepared. They got outclassed, outcoached on Monday, though. That's for sure. They need to be better. Curly says Reddick loves money more than football. Well, if he loves money, then that doesn't make any sense. Right? If he loves money, then the best thing to do for him to get money would have been to show up. How does he think he's getting more money now? He's been fined so much that even if the Jets redid his contract, he's breaking even or maybe still coming out behind. That's what doesn't make any sense. ISU says, kind of surprised to see where Levis was on the chart. I watched that whole game. He was awful. Let's see. Levis is where on the chart? I mean, based on the chart, he was slightly above accurate. But here's the thing. He made the back-breaking turnover in that game, right? That interception he threw was the reason why they lost. Super chat from JR. He cuts the line. Thank you, JR. Defense struggled against the Cowboys last year, week 2, and we still had a top 5 defense. So why are people convinced we can't recover this year? Because people want to be negative. Because it's week 1. You know? That's why. I have confidence this defense will play better. They can't be worse. The big fella with a super chat. Thank you, big fella. Jake, I got my Bobby mug. I think the Jets should kick the tires on Yannick Ngakoue and really squeeze Reddick. Better to prepare to be without him. Yeah, I wonder what Yannick wants. I would 100% be open to something like that. I don't know if the Jets will. I mean, someone asked me yesterday, should the Jets trade for JFM? Can they get him back? Peter says Levis stinks. Should control the game easily. I want this team to force some turnovers on Sunday. You know, I want this team to obviously put pressure on the quarterback, but come up with an interception or two that flips the field, leads to a score. That's what I want to see. Tony says, I think more than anything, our defense feels outplayed and embarrassed. They've been good over the past 2 years. I expect them to show us something good on Sunday. Yeah, I mean, they have too much pride. Right? And they have pedigree to fall back on. Like they hold themselves to a high standard. Mr. Reality says Wilson did not start as a rook. Same with Corley. Why? I don't think you can compare where Garrett Wilson was as a rookie to Malachi Corley. Garrett Wilson's first catch in the NFL, you knew the guy was going to be a star against the Ravens when he basically juked 3 Ravens defenders out of their jockstrap to turn like a negative 3-yard gain into like a positive 10-yard gain. I mean, Garrett Wilson was the 10th pick in the draft. Malachi Corley was the, first pick of the 3rd round? I mean, it's a little different. Do I want Corley to play more? Obviously. Do I think he will play more? I do. Like, the problem for the Jets is they had the ball for just 20 minutes on Monday. They need more plays. Matthew says Reddick will never play for the Jets. He doesn't want to play the fines. Well, he has to pay the fines. It's not the Jets he's paying the fines to. It's the NFL. He's being fined for not being there. He might not want to play for the Jets, so he's willing just to take a bath and lose all this money. That has to at least be on the table at this point. The guy just might be an idiot. But he's not playing because he doesn't want to pay the fines. He has to pay them regardless. Nick says, can someone tell Garrett and Sauce to switch back to no sleeves? It's an interesting take. The sleeve thing didn't bother me as much as apparently it bothered some. That's kind of how I looked at it. Comments, questions, super chats. We'll cut the line. We are seeking more channel members. We've added 10 so far this show. Thank you to Craig and Keith for gifting memberships. Peter says Reddick is brain dead. I mean, look. I don't understand what he's doing. Bobby Salty Nut says Corley was a bad pick. Bobby, for you to even say this after one game where the guy played one snap is so stupid. You leave me, unfortunately, with no choice.
I'm not saying you're not mentally ill. For all I know, you're crazy as a loon.
Come on, man. Be better than that, Bobby's salty nuts. Peter says Giants uniforms horrific. Factual statement. The only thing worse than the Giants uniforms on Sunday, you could argue, was their performance on the field. That's how bad it was. David says, 3rd down drop, drive opening snap, fumble, put a real damper on time of possession. Yeah, completely agreed. And like they never got into a rhythm. You know, obviously time of possession was lopsided. I feel like B-man right now. Time of possession was lopsided, like statistically, but like the real time, it was lopsided, right? But from like the Jets' last drive in the 2nd quarter to when they finally got the ball in the 3rd quarter, over an hour of like real life time go by? Like they just were not on the field. There was no rhythm. You know, that's the case. More calls right now. Doug is in his room. Doug, you might have to get back on the couch. All right. The Jets might win more there. We'll find out. Hello, Doug.
I promise for Sunday, if the Jets win, I will be back on the couch for the post-game show.
Okay.
That's how I will bring the couch out of retirement. When the Jets win on Sunday, I will do every Jets win post-game, I will be on the couch except for the Jets-Patriots game in New England because I'll be at the game. So otherwise, I'll be on the couch for every post-game.
Well, we thank you for your service.
Mm-hmm. So, you know, I'm being more on the positive side of things for this team than the negative side of things because, again, I'll flash back to this time last year. We didn't know what was coming, and it was going to the worst night of our lives as a Jets fan was coming. And I take this feeling 1,000 out of 1,000 times every time. I'm in a much happier spot right now. I don't feel like our season's over. I feel like there's a lot ahead. I feel good about what's going to come this season, and I feel like we're really going to make some noise. Whereas last year we were dead at this. We weren't dead yet, but come 24 hours tomorrow morning, we would have been dead, and our season would have been over. So I'd much rather have this, have the belief that we can. I don't want to put anything on my wall. But I believe that we can go further this year, and it's going to be an exciting year.
So you just want a white wall, nothing else.
Well, it's my room. I don't need decorations and stuff in my room anymore.
R&R is saying it's depressing.
Well, you don't have to live in here, so it's not your problem.
It's a fair point.
It's my room. I sleep in here fine every night. I'm very happy with the way my room is set up. Thanks for everyone's concern.
ISU says, Doug, put a fat head of your couch on your wall. Now that's an idea.
That is an idea to bring it out of retirement. The couch is in retirement. Maybe not retirement, but on sabbatical. So like to get out of sabbatical, we got to win. I don't know what you want to say. I didn't paint the rooms of this wall. It's an apartment that I rent. I didn't paint the walls.
What if you put a fat head of your wall on your wall?
Wall? That's just breaking down the fourth wall right there. We're just going into a completely different dimension, just blowing the mind.
Nate would like to see you prove you're not locked in there.
Give me a second.
All right.
And then, if anyone wants to see it, the couch.
There it is.
The couch. It is alive and well.
Doug, I hope we hear from you Sunday from the couch.
I hope to be there from the couch as well.
Thank you, Doug. Doug's room reminds me of my Houston apartment the first 3 years I lived there, where I was like, I'm not going to be here that long. Why am I going to put a bunch of things on the wall? Ended up being there 6 years. Finally added stuff to the wall. Just took a while. Big fella, Jake, better draft pick, McDonald or Kayvon? Kayvon. He's been a better player. I think Kayvon's attitude or some of the ways he kind of handles himself maybe rubs you the wrong way. But if you're winning, you don't worry about it. Kayvon's been better so far. Doesn't mean Will McDonald can't be a good player, but we need him to take a big leap this year. In the first game, I didn't think he played particularly well. Dan says, how worried are you about this coaching staff? I'll be worried come playoff time, assuming we're there. If we're not there, then yeah, I'd be worried there's going to be changes. The way I look at it is this. Robert Saleh is not Kyle Shanahan. Okay, most coaches aren't. But let's see how this team does now when they're basically going to be expected to win. Since Robert Saleh has been the Jet head coach, there have not been too many games where the Jets are favorites in. There have not been too many games where the Jets are expected to win. Otherwise, it is a massive failure. That's this game on Sunday. I know it's on the road. It's the Titans home opener. It's the NFL. Games are typically close going into the fourth quarter no matter what. I get it. Wouldn't surprise me if this is a one-score game in the fourth. But you're the better team. You have the better quarterback. Win the game. That's how I look at it. I'll be very concerned if they lose. Not that the season's over at 0-2, but this team should be able to win on Sunday against a Titans team that is in a rebuild. James says, does Williams play more this week? I think so. Will Gibson have a target? I think so as well. Are they going to have more than 20 minutes of time of possession? R&R says, Doug, knock on the wall. Is Jake Klein okay in his cell? Jake Klein was at our watch party on Monday. Shout out to him. James writes in, we spent 9 months saying our defense is amazing. It just shows you all the preseason talk means nothing on paper, nothing. They have to play the games. You're still human. This is not a video game. I mean, I still think the Jets defense is outstanding, James. I think they had a bad game. They had a bad game week 2 against the Cowboys last year. They finished 3rd in the NFL in DVOA, and they were the number 1 defense in yards per play. They had a bad night. Schematically, they were not good. Fundamentally, they were not good in tackling. Doesn't mean they're a bad defense. It means they had a bad game. Niners defense last year, I think, had 3 separate games where they allowed 30 or more points. Like, it happens. Mike says, win games you're supposed to win, you'll be in the playoffs. Yeah, I mean, Titans, Patriots twice, Vikings, Denver. These are all games you should win. Just to name a few of what they have coming up. Dan says, Jake, side note, Yankees, double-digit win, then shut out the next day is so Yankees. Yeah, I mean, they're streaky. This is what they've been all year. They had the great run to start. Next 70 games, they've been bad. I mean, you look at the American League right now, there's no dominant team. If you told me the Yankees got beat in the wild card round or they won the World Series, I wouldn't sit here and be shocked. Also, what's wrong? I don't think anything's wrong with Judge. I know he hasn't had a home run in 13 games. Since I was in Vegas, Judge has not had a home run when I was out there with Circa, which is wild. But I don't think there's anything wrong with him necessarily. I think his standard is so high that we view him differently. I think he'll be fine. Mr. Reality says, New England, Minnesota, Buffalo are no longer cakewalks like we bragged. If you don't think New England is a cakewalk, I don't know what to tell you. Now, it's a division game. Jets can't just think they're going to win. They got to prove it. But nothing New England did week one changes my perception. And who said Buffalo was a cakewalk? Are you dumb? This has got to be a troll comment. How would the Bills, the team that's won the division the last 4 years and has the best quarterback in the division, maybe a top 3 quarterback in the league, how could we sit here and say that would be a cakewalk? And Minnesota, it's not a cakewalk because the game's in London. It's a little quirky. It's weird, but like, you're the better team. You should be able to beat Sam Darnold. Come on now. First Day Jet says, Q had it out with the staff when the scheme wasn't working. We immediately got better. Need that moment again. Look, I think we're one game in, and I think we need to show a little patience that this team will be able to right itself. Wow, we got some big news from Huga House. They didn't even tell me this. Aaron Rodgers year 20 hats are now on sale. Limited time. Promo code Asman. Go quick. Might have to get one for myself. If you want the hat Aaron wore for year 20 in the NFL, HugaHouse.com right now. Ladies and gentlemen, more of your calls. We say hello to Nate, parentheses Nate. Hello, Nate.
Hey, Jake. How are you? Shout out to that hat. I got it yesterday morning, the green version of it, and I used code Asman for my 50% off. Basically paid for my shipping. Cheers. Appreciate that. I kind of want to move on to Tennessee, like the players and the coaches and everyone else. We're done with San Francisco, but there's just I made the point yesterday. We don't know about our coach, but a lot of your viewers and people in the chat can kind of take notes from at least the calmness and demeanor of Saleh, and just how when he can't control something, it doesn't bother him, and he's not an emotional wreck like that. There's a lot of people who I feel like they forget the definition of a fan. Like, you either enjoy this and you want to support the team and you want to be in the Jake Asman show every day, or go ride a bike, find a new hobby. If this hurts you,
you do both, to be fair.
Yeah, I do it all the time. I ride my bike while watching the Jake Asman show.
Yeah.
It's the ultimate feeling of euphoria. Yeah, and I absolutely love it. But it's if this hurts you, go do something else. I can't believe I'm saying that to grown men. Anyway, I mean, it's the same with Haason Reddick talk. None of us know about Haason Reddick. Jake, you and I went at it for 20 minutes about we don't know. We're not in control. We have no impact. So unless someone wants to make a GoFundMe and raise money to pay his fines, just move on. It's focus on something else. Speaking of, and I made this point last time, sorry to kind of echo everything, but in the 2009-2010 season, when we all last remember our glory days, so to speak, when I kind of became a Jets fan in the 08, 09, 10, we lost to Atlanta at home in a brutal loss, and Rex Ryan said we were eliminated from the playoffs. We lost that same year to Aaron Rodgers at home 9-0. We got shut out. I remember it well. That year. We went to the AFC Championship that year. Everyone needs to calm down over a week 1 game that was against possibly the best opponent in the NFC that was in the Super Bowl last year. This week we're going against the Tennessee Titans, where last week we went against one of the best offensive lines. This week we go against a very questionable offensive line. They have a good coach, but it's a very questionable offensive line. As of now, as Jets fans, we think our pass rush and our stopping the run is somewhat questionable. Well, we're facing the team to find out. I would like to see boxes like we saw against Zach Wilson every week, like last year. I want to see that against Will Levis. I want to see all 11 guys on my screen in his face. And like, I don't care whatever the defense is. I'm not saying, we got to send 6 and 11, but make Will Levis think, make them, do not let them run the ball. Like Tony Pollard should not be able to run the ball with these guys. So we'll find out. They're not the 49ers. We should be able to at least dictate a little bit. I feel like the Niners were able to dictate everything they wanted to do almost on both ends of the ball yesterday, especially offensively. Obviously, I feel like we should have a little bit more control over what I think is like almost a rookie QB. You mentioned it earlier, Jake. I'm all over. I said this yesterday, but now I'm serious about it. Make some phone calls for JFM, even though no one's going to trade in week 2. Just like have it on the radar. You know what I'm saying? Like he clearly enjoyed the locker room. He left over money dispute. He didn't get any more money than he got if he, you know what I'm saying? That if he would have worked something out with us, he'd probably rather be on a winning team. He'd probably not rather be teammates with Zach Wilson again. Let's.
Well, I mean, I don't think Zach's a bad teammate. He's the third stringer.
Yeah,
I know.
I'm being facetious, but yeah. One other thing, Jake, I have to call every time I have to mention Quantez Stiggers when I call in now. He was dressing over JBC. I was talking to you at T Square. We were there. I was like, hey, did you see any of the news about Quantez? You told me that he was dressing, and I was like, then I saw JBC didn't dress. So I feel like they have some. Is he already 4th on the depth chart? You know what I'm saying? Is he behind Eccles on the depth chart? They clearly like his versatility on special teams. He was always in there for every special teams play. He's got great ability to tackle. He seems like a pretty good gunner. And he was also in. I mean, it was the very end of the game. He was in a couple times on defense. It's just interesting to see him already over JBC. I'm curious if that continues or if it's just a 1 week and then JBC is going to be dressed next week, et cetera, et cetera.
I'm not sure. I mean, Stiggers, I think. Has some like positional versatility with where he could line up. So I think they like having that. Like Stiggers was out there when Carter went out and missed some plays. So I think that stuff matters.
Agreed. I'm all over Stiggers. I'll be repping my jersey for the home opener. I guess I kind of ran out of football. Or I guess the last thing I was thinking, the other thing I'd want to see from Saleh, because now I'm closer to Allen than I was not Allen, like with the whole Saleh stance. I'm not there. I'm just like, he does need to show me something. And I feel like we made absolutely like I learned a lot from Fialco yesterday. Thanks again for having me on with him. But his whole, he was on the 4 wide thing before that ESPN guy posted it, and just like how we play. And when I asked him the linebacker question about how well they played the linebackers last year versus the run, filling multiple gaps and all of that. But like we needed to make an adjustment, and we didn't make an adjustment. They had 7 yards run. Like I was seeing replays of the all 22. Every time Mason got the ball, there were 2 offensive linemen already in the second level, already on Mosley, and like he had giant holes with 2 offensive linemen 4 yards down the field by the time he was at the line of scrimmage. So it's like we didn't see any adjustments. I don't know football like these other guys, but like I would like to see an adjustment if whatever's happening Sunday. Like, I know we stick by our cover 3s and we rush 4 and we don't blitz, blah, 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 blah. But it's like, at some point when you're down 2 touchdowns and the game plan's not working, we know this all the time. Teams make adjustments mid-quarter or halftime, like whenever you have to.
I agree. I think they should be more aggressive, especially when you're playing Will Levis. You're playing a quarterback who's very unproven. Nate, the Zach Wilson box defense should be deployed at times in this game. 100%. I'm with you. For those wondering, this is the hat that Nate bought on the Huga House site. This is the hat that's also on sale on the Huga House site. Promo code Asman at checkout for 15% off. Get either of these 2 fine hats. Chris M with a super chat. He cuts the line. He says, we need to blitz the next 4 games. The next 4 quarterbacks are trash. I'd like to see them blitz more. I mean, the Jets were 31st in the NFL in blitz rate, so it's not something they do. I get it. But I think this could be a game where you could switch it up a little bit. Because if you're not going to get a pass rush because you don't have the rushers right now, got to be a little creative. And you have the corners to be able to cover, so use them. All right, a couple more calls, then we'll wrap. Revenge Tour is on the show. He joins us now. Hello, Revenge Tour.
Hey, Jake. I was at Santa Clara, California, and what I saw was just, it was like the old Packers defense of old, and it was horrifying to watch. I just couldn't understand why we weren't getting pressure and sacking quarterback, why we weren't stopping the run. It was just like Saul is supposed to be a mastermind. And here's the thing. The offense is going to catch fire. I'm not worried about the offense. But the defense, if we don't fix that defense, we're going to make the playoffs. We're going to be one and done. I do not want this to happen. This is the Jets. We're known for our defense. It needs to get fixed. I like your take of getting JFN back. I don't know about Haason Reddick. There may be some other options, but we need, like some other callers were saying, like a big boy in the middle with Quinton Williams. Because we cannot be a laughing stock on the defense.
I don't think they will. I think it was a poor performance, but it's also one game against a great team. You know, like I don't think this. I don't think this is who the Jets defense now all of a sudden is. Like maybe they're not top 3, but we really think this is not a defense that's still not going to be in the upper half of the league. There's too much talent.
Okay, but so what I saw is our defense, Quinn Williams can stop the run, but what about the other ones? Are they just light bodies that are pass rushers?
No, I think the scheme was a problem. Rewind the show and watch the video I posted of Dan Orlovsky showing the film on the way the Jets aligned and why the Niners just took advantage of it. There's adjustments they got to make. They also have to tackle better. How many missed tackles do they have in this game on Monday?
They had a lot of missed sacks, and the 49ers were doing those running to Deebo Samuel, like I can't remember what they're called, but you kind of like end arounds, and they were just getting killed with those. And then they just, what I don't understand is I was watching the game, I'm like, run up the gut. Stop trying to do stretches where the 49ers are strong. Run up the gut. So I was so frustrated. I was so frustrated there.
Well, let me tell you this.
Yeah.
It's one game, man. They're not going to play the Niners every week. They played a great team.
I just thought the Jets were so much. I thought their defense was elite.
They still might be. I mean, like they had an awful game week 2 last year against the Cowboys. Like it happens.
So give it time.
Yeah, there's 16 games left. Revenge Tour. What are you gonna stop watching now?
No, I'm not going to stop watching. I used to watch Packers all the time, and I just don't want this to be like that. Because Rodgers, if the defense gets really good and stuff, we're going to.
You watch the Packers all the time. Rodgers MVP year in 21. Didn't they lose 38-10 to Jameis Winston and the Saints in week 1? Like it's week 1, man. It happens.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, before you go, can I try and calm you down? Because your brother Lane Train is predicting the Jets to win this week.
Great game. I know Aaron Rodgers did well tonight. Look, it's only one game. Everybody's complaining that the season's over. Week 2, they're playing Tennessee. We're going to win. I guarantee that they're going to win 37-29.
All right. Lane is predicting a win. So your brother's predicting a win, Revenge Tour. Just take it easy. James says, anyone going to T-Square Sunday? I was there Monday. I'm thinking about going. Well, James, you have to be there. And don't worry, there'll be more chairs for you, James, because there's not a private event going on at the same time. It's going to be a blast. All right, we need some energy after that call. Lane Train's brother was trying to put us to sleep with his concerns. So if we need energy, there's only one guy we can go to. We say hello to Neil, who joins us now. Hello, Neil.
But, when a guy says he's been watching the Packers for all these years, I wish I was a Packer.
It must be nice.
What the hell? I mean, really? I was worried about the defense. Jake, I'm coming here, and I did a little homework. And I did this same thing last year when we didn't really spend the money we needed to spend. And, I've said it, that Joe Douglas, likes to shop at Walmart. And, we get these really lowly contracts, okay? But I just want to give you some facts. I think, without a doubt, after this game, he should have tucked his tail between his legs, got on the phone with Reddick's agent, and get him in here. Enough already with this. If you want to be a Super Bowl winning team, you got to spend some goddamn money. Okay? Let me give you the facts. Jets have their top 10 players' salaries are under $100 million. Falcons, top 10 salaries, $150 million. The Bills, top 10 salaries, $160 million. Von Miller makes $20 million a year. He doesn't even see the field. Okay? The Bengals, same thing, $160 million. They pay Hendrickson $21 million a year. He's not as good as Reddick, is he? Is Hendrickson for Reddick? If you had to pick one or the other to start for you in the Super Bowl, who would you pick?
Haason Reddick.
Thank you. And they got Hubbard making $10 million. That's $33 million on the edge. What are we spending on the goddamn edge? $4 million for a guy for what's his? Listen, look, our defense. I'm really getting disgusted with this. I'm not done yet. Let's get to the big numbers. The team that just whooped our ass. You know how much the 49ers top 12 players make in salary? $200 million.
I don't think it's just money with Reddick though, Neil. I think it is
money, Jake. What the hell you think it is? He doesn't like the Jets? Oh, come on. He was signing Jet helmet. It's about money, Jake. The guy wants a bag.
But how is he making money by being away from the team? Like at this point, even if they gave him a new contract, he lost.
Let me tell you something. If I'm a top 5 rusher in this game, I'm not going to step on the field for $14 million when the guy you replace me with is making $15 million. Well, I mean, come on, Jake. You want to put this all on Haason Reddick? I put this on Joe goddamn Douglas.
I think it's both. I think it's both. Yeah, but how is Reddick helping himself, Neil, if he wants money by being away from the team and costing himself? He's already cost himself $5 million before the year started. Now we're at $800K a game, so that's almost now $6 million. Like,
because at this point, somebody has to blink, and it's not him, obviously, that's going to blink.
Well, I think the Jets are banking on him blinking. They're going to say, we're playing the Titans, we're playing the Patriots, we're playing the Vikings, we're playing the Broncos. Like, we're okay without Reddick for those games. And they'll hope that he'll show up because he's losing so much money at some point.
Let's hope. Let me tell you something. Could we afford, let me ask you a question. Before we get into the meat of the season, okay, let me tell you something. If we played a really good game and it was close and we weren't getting pushed all over the goddamn field on the defensive line, okay, I would agree with you. But the reality is, we can't afford to go into week 7 3-3, 3-4. I mean, is that how you want to win the division? By waiting on Reddick and trying to be a smart ass? I wouldn't mind doing it, okay, if we didn't have the money. You got to realize something. We're in the New York market. We spend more goddamn money on season tickets. You know how much money the Jets are making with all these primetime games, Jake? They're making a goddamn fortune. If I was Woody Johnson, the guy's 81. I believe he wants to win. 81, the guy's a goddamn billionaire, okay? And the only thing he does when he goes to cocktail parties with his wife and he sees, they laugh at him. Oh, here he is, the Jet guy. Think about it. If I'm a billionaire and I'm sitting there and I'm Woody Johnson, what's the one thing that's a chafe on my ass? It's my team that I own. They suck. Okay? So here's the bottom line. $100 million. We could give Reddick 3 years, $70 million, with an out on the third year.
Neil, they lost week one. It's not going to change their entire approach to then now overpay for a 30-year-old edge rusher. I think they would give him
Sunday. I expect to win Sunday. I get it. But guess what? I'm tired.
You had them going 17-0 2 nights ago. You got to relax, man.
I'm relaxed. I'm just saying, Jake. I'm making a point. Eagles 190 million. You know, you're a Yankee fan, okay?
Yeah, but they're not just going to give the guy a blank check and spend money that's going to affect their cap for future years. Like
I'm sorry. Let's worry about 2025 and 26 when we have to sign Sauce and all these. Jermaine Johnson. He's the next. He thinks he's what's his name on the Cowboys. He thinks he's him. He ain't there.
Jermaine Johnson was really good last year. He was in the Pro Bowl.
I get it, but I don't have to worry about giving him a bag right now.
You're not worried about it right now, and they're all in to win this year.
You.
But
this is it. We got 2 years with Rodgers. Do you think Rodgers is coming back next year? If our fucking defense is, I'm sorry. If our
Neil, you're losing it. You're losing it off of one game. Relax. Relax.
I'm not talking about the game. I'm talking about the fact that we are in a win now.
If they won, you wouldn't be screaming and yelling, "Pay Reddick." You'd be saying, "Screw him. We don't need him."
No. Yeah. I get it, but now here's the point. I'm really being realistic now, and I'm taking a deeper dive into the roster. And the roster is not what we think it is, Guy. It's not what we think it is.
I don't know about that. I think they had a really poor game on defense, and I agree from the standpoint that they should work something out with Reddick, but I think it also takes two to tango. I'm at a point now where none of this has made any sense. I think this guy might be a giant idiot, honestly.
No, I don't agree. I'm telling you right now, if I'm Reddick, okay, I want the goddamn bag. I don't believe.
But he's not going to get it. He's not going to get it. Why would the Jets give him? Because they have all the leverage. He needs to play for them, or his contract will toll over.
Have the leverage? I don't see that.
He doesn't have any leverage. Neil, when the Jets are 4-1, what leverage does he have?
McDonald's are leverage. Those two guys look like scrubs.
They could beat the Titans without Haason Reddick. You think Jermaine Johnson and Quinnen are going to play that poor again? You really think this defense is going to tackle that bad again against Will Levis and the Titans?
I did not say that. All I'm saying is we want the word elite on a defense includes Haason Reddick. If I brought this one caller is talking about bringing JFM back, I don't give a shit about JFM. He's not that elite. He's okay.
No, but he would help against the run. He would help against the run. Like, I don't understand your point. You can't just give Haason Reddick now a 3-year deal and send a precedent that if you hold out after one loss,
there's no precedent. There's no precedent.
There is a precedent. You're gonna have a bunch of guys that want to get paid next year that are gonna threaten to do the same thing. You can't just now give the guy a blank check after how he's conducted himself. I agree with the Jets from that standpoint.
It's all business. They agree. The players know. If I'm a player, I'm not looking at this as a positive. I'm looking at this as a negative. Because guess what? And they throw a Band-Aid and give Carter, he's making $10 million a year. That's not, I just told you. The salary is,
they have $50 million in dead cap that they are carrying this year. They will have cap space next year to extend the two guys on my shirt right now. Like that's what they're accounting for.
But you're not. But the point is, you told me the cap is a mumble jumbo.
Yes,
we have to win now.
They have the cap space to pay Reddick what he wants. They don't want to give him that kind of money. And at this point, I don't know if it makes sense to pay Haason Reddick what he wants, Neil. I don't know if that is a smart way to run your football team.
But let's look at the roster based on what you saw last week. Are we in dire need of an edge rusher yet that could stop the run also? Yes or no?
I don't know if it's dire. I think they had a really bad game on Monday, and I think they'll bounce back when they're not playing the best team in the NFC every week.
Okay. Okay. I will say this. Okay. If we're not getting a pass rush on Will Levis, if Titans get 150 yards rushing on us, they're not going to get. Here's the thing. Okay. They're not going to. Here's what we are going to do. We're going to compress the defensive line like Fialco had us all outside and they were running through gaps and Orlovsky.
Yeah, they'll make adjustments.
Okay, they're going to condense the defensive line and stop the run. Okay, let's assume they do that. If they do that, we're undersized in their offensive line. We're not going to be able to get the pass rush in because our guys are wide 9 guys that have to get around the tackle, not throw the tackle.
They'll get a pass rush because the Titans' offensive line is not very good. It's not the Niners' O-line.
It's better than the 49er offensive
No,
line.
had they look against the Bears on Sunday, they were not very good.
On paper, Callahan, first of all, is the best offensive line coach in history.
Okay, he still has a quarterback that's not very good.
I get it, but they don't. My point is that Will Levis could throw, anybody could throw an out route to. Let me tell you something. Everybody on the 49ers was open by 10 goddamn yards.
Neil,
you don't think D Hop is going to be open in those
scheme. They also tackled poorly. They didn't stop the run. They had the Niners had the ball for 38 minutes. And you're panicking after one game. I am shocked.
No,
you had
I'm
this
not
team going
panicking.
17-0. Now you're talking about Will Levis concerning you, and we are in dire need for an edge rusher. They aren't.
Jake, I'm not doing that. All I'm trying to tell you is this. Nobody is talking about Reddick. Nobody's putting Douglas's feet to the goddamn fire. We're trying to act like we own the checkbook. Do you think I give a shit or any other season ticket holder that suffered for that number on the screen gives a shit about Joe Douglas and his checkbook?
You don't just give a blank check to him, though. That's not how you run your football team.
You got to realize we have the guy in our – he's here. He's great. We know he's great. There's no question he's great. He's only going to get worse if we wait till week 6 and sign him because then he's going to get a hamstring.
But that's on him. You can't force the guy to show up.
Jake, you mean to tell me you really seriously think that if Douglas gets on the phone with his agent right now, they can't work a deal out? I believe they can.
I think the Jets have a precedent that they have set, and they have proved they care about this because they paid Michael Carter that if he doesn't show up, they're not going to redo his contract first.
That was his talking point, but that's, again, you got to, that's
But they backed it up by actually paying Carter.
Douglas is going to go down the drain, Jake. If he doesn't wake the goddamn hell up, he's going to have his job at stake.
Not when they're 4-1, Neil. Not when they win on Sunday and then win with you and I in the building on next Thursday.
Doesn't matter. We're beating mediocre teams.
It does matter.
What happens when we play the Bills?
He loses leverage.
Jake, I've made all 13 of my points. Before you cut me off again, I'm going to throw myself out this goddamn window.
They can win games without Haason Reddick. You can't tell me that you were this confident in the roster in 17-0 and a bad performance against a great team on the road in their building, and now you give Haason Reddick a blank check? You can't run your team that way. It's not how it works. And I have basically killed Joe Douglas for how this whole thing has been handled from the beginning, from the Bryce Huff stuff to letting Clowney leave the building, pivoting to like I gave the Jets too much credit when they made that deal. I'm like, well, they obviously are pretty close on a deal if they agreed to the contract, agreed to the trade, I mean. But from this point on, now that we're here, you can't just completely change your entire operation and your stance on Reddick off of one result. You know how bad you would look? It's going to cost you down the line when you're trying to negotiate deals with some of your other players. If Haason Reddick is dumb enough to cost himself $800K every week, then so be it for right now. I'm not completely caving and changing everything I have said publicly because they lost to the Niners in week 1 and a bad performance. And by the way, here's the dirty little secret. They lose to the Niners with Reddick with the way they were lined up. Wouldn't have mattered. I played the Orlovsky clip earlier. Look where the Jets were lined up on defense. Reddick would not have made a difference. Carmen with a super chat. What is you talking about? John has given everyone what they wanted. Who's John? Dan writes in, is Devontae trade still in play? Of course it's still in play. Keep rooting against the Raiders. Nate writes in, ask Neil if we beat San Fran if Haason was. Yeah, I mean, great minds think, Nate. They would have lost with or without Haason in that game on Sunday. That was going to be the last call, but we got too many people that Neil fired up that are on the line right now. So we'll keep it rolling here. From one energy bunny to another, the King's on the line. Hello, King Lowski.
Yeah! Ladies and gentlemen, that is what you call a true Jets fan. Okay? Yeah, Neil got me fired. I love it. That's prime time YouTube, baby. Jake, my brother. Jake, my brother. It's always good to see you fired up, my brother. I love Spicy Jake. Hey, let me tell you something, man. Yeah, we would have lost that game with or without Haason Reddick. But, you know, I get it from the standpoint of why do we have this looming over our damn head? And I vowed not to talk about the man no more, so I'm not going to talk about the man. But as an organization, I'm tired of having this situation looming over our head in the middle of the season. But, of course, I'm not panicked at all. Of course, Tennessee has a formidable defensive line. I'm really not worried about their offensive line. I believe we can create pressure on Will Levis. If I'm not mistaken, Will Levis got hurt last game, so he's a little bit nicked up. So we might even see a little bit of Malik Willis. So as long as we stay within the parameters of we got to stick to being the Jets and making sure our defense is on point at all times, make sure Robert Saleh is being his defensive specialist self, then I'm not worried, baby. But we better beat Tennessee. And we better beat them. And we better beat them with no questions asked. Yeah, with no questions asked, Jake. You know what I'm saying? There should be no doubt left when we leave out in Tennessee. And I will be in Tennessee. Big fella, holla at me. All right? Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, King Lowski. He wants the big fella. He gets the big fella. He's next. Hello, big fella.
Goddamn right we're going to be in Tennessee, and we're taking that shit. Now, listen, Neil, you got to relax, buddy. We want you to be around for the home opener. We want you to be around the rest of the season. You need to chill out, man. That was a little much. Just breathe.
I just couldn't believe how angry he got over like one game. You can't have that radically different of like a mindset on the team off of one game.
Bro, I thought we were going to win the game. We lost the game. Doesn't mean the season's over. You know what I mean? It's like these things happen, you know? We were rusty. Yeah, we were rusty. The freaking, you know, they didn't play in the preseason. So
there's a couple plays here that think about how different this game is if maybe Lazard catches that pass on the opening drive. If Brees doesn't fumble. If Aaron and Garrett are on the same page on that one play where they were going to take the deep shot downfield. Like it's, you know, it wasn't just the defense. Like the offense was still going through some rust as well. And they'll be better against a team that's not the Niners going forward.
Yeah, and it's just bad business that, you know, you're going to throw all this money at this guy when you only want him for 1 year anyway, because you have to sign your young stars. You know what I mean? It's bad business. It screws you over for the future. And yeah, I know we're in win now, but you want to possibly win now and then screw over the next 3 years? I don't think so. You know, you have to be able to, you know, you have to be able to manage. You have to be able to manage everything. And, you know, Neil, you just got to chill out. And wait till Tennessee. We got to hook up there and down there, man. The big fella and Lowski going to kick some Tennessee ass on Sunday, brother. So, anyway, let's go. Jake, great show as always. And, you know, go Jets.
Big fella, always great to hear from you, man. I will keep going here. Let's go to, ladies and gentlemen, maybe someone that could chill Neil down.
B-Man is here. How we feeling?
Hi, okay. Hey Jay, what's up? By the way, I say your pin has found a new home.
My what? Oh, my pin. Okay, I heard something different there, but continue.
Yeah, so yeah, no, Neil's got to calm down, relax. I mean, look, let's be honest. The 49ers are probably one of, if not the best offensive lines in all of football right now.
Certainly one of them. I mean, the Jets just didn't play well on the defensive line either. They didn't set the edge well. They didn't tackle. They were lined up improperly when you watch it back, as Orlovsky showed, as Fialco showed yesterday on the show. It was a lot.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of factors. And like I said, probably it's the first game. You haven't played you haven't played any real football in a while, so there's rust. That's a factor, And you're right, they were not set up well. And coaching, and look, I trust you. Look, this coaching staff, this on the defensive side of the ball, they have a resume that you can trust them on. So you can trust that they're going to look at the tape, they're going to see the mistakes, and they're going to get to work hammering them out. And like I said, it's the Titans. And Brock Purdy's a far more experienced quarterback than Will Levis is. Let's be real. Brock Purdy's a guy who's played in a Super Bowl, so he's in a lot more experience in high-end situations than Levis is. So Levis is far more raw, and so you're gonna have a much easier matchup going ahead this Sunday.
They should.
And let's be real, the Titans' offensive line is not the Niners' offensive line. And sure, they have an excellent offensive line coach, but coaching can only get you so far when you don't have the talent to back it up.
I agree.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to this weekend. This is going to be a good game because also this, I remember correctly, the game's on the 15th, right?
The game is on the 15th. Yeah, you coming to the watch party, V-Man?
No, I'm not going to be able to. I'll be probably asleep at that time because coming off of work.
Asleep? You're not going to watch the Jet game?
No, I'll probably get up for the game, but I'm going to be too exhausted to make the train ride, then, come back in, then make the train ride back, then immediately have to get ready for work.
I understand. That's okay.
But no. But I'll be looking forward to it because also the 15th is the start of Hispanic Heritage Month.
Ah, there it is. It is. Of course it is. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed your pin, all right?
Yeah, no. I got room for one more on this side, but that's reserved something special.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Talk to you later, man.
Goodbye, V-Man.
That's the end of that V-Man call. Now he can go back to sleeping.
V-Man. Incredible. Nate says, already read that one. Bobby's Nuts says Neil needs to pack that cigar with green tobacco. Understandable. All right, more calls. JT's next. Hey, JT.
Yo, Jake, how we doing?
I'm good, JT.
I'm good as well. So I think that there's a little bit of overreactions from Monday night. We played the Super Bowl runner-up. We played probably one of the best defenses, if not the best defense in football. We played one of the best, if not the best offenses in football. CMC being out was really not like I had a feeling it wasn't going to make too much of a difference because the Niners have a system where they can just plug anybody in and they can do damage. I mean, the Niners have a system that just works well. Purdy fell right into it and has looked good ever since he's been drafted for the most part. I don't know. I think it's a huge overreaction to throw away the season or basically want to throw the bag at Haason after that game. Neil's call is a little overboard, in my opinion. It definitely was.
A little bit.
But
I love his passion. I just think we got to calm down a little bit.
Yeah, no, of course. I agree completely. I love the passion, but I think we'll be fine. We played the best team in football. One of the best teams in football. Sorry. One of the best teams. But we have an easy schedule coming up, as you outlined. Tennessee, we should beat the brakes off them, honestly. I'm looking forward to a huge bounce back week. I'm looking forward to like a 3-possession win, honestly. Or a win by 3 scores, essentially. Honestly, I think Tennessee is not good. This is our bounce back game. This is what we get to see what the Jets are made of.
Look, they didn't win. They played poorly. I feel like if you're the Jets, you come in and your mentality is with a better team, dominate. Defense going to be playing for pride. They don't want to put together another horrible performance like that. Like I think there's a lot of things going the Jets' way here.
Right. And there was a few plays that could have changed the trajectory of the game, but that's what a championship caliber team does. They don't let those things like we could have had hit Debo for a loss and knocked him out of field goal range when it was 7-3. But Debo gained those extra 10 to 15 yards. Debo's fumble on the one where he wound up actually scoring, grabbing again and scoring. Some of those plays can change the whole trajectory of the game, and the game could have went a big different way. It's little things like that I think a Super Bowl runner-up team will be able to use their advantage, where other teams that do that, like the Bengals, they fumbled the ball through the ends. You know what I mean? Like this is just we ran into a buzzsaw week 1, and I don't think it's going to set the tone for our season is where I'm at.
I agree, JT. Good call. John writes in with a super chat. Salah/scheme can't lose us more games. Russ, no big deal. Glad the game's over with. Humbling game for the locker room. Get our anger out on the Titans. Yeah, I mean, if this team is as good as we think, they're going to have pride and they're going to bounce back. That's what good teams do. It's not unusual for a team to lose week 1. Half the league's 0-1 right now. The Bills were 0-1. They won this division last year. The Chiefs were 0-1. They won the Super Bowl. Like, it happens all the time. Brady lost by 35 his first game in Tampa. The 2010 Jets lost badly to the Ravens on Monday night in the first game ever at MetLife in primetime for the Jets. And then they beat the Patriots the next week. Started the 9-2. All right, Kyle, Ted, Brian, and Rob are last 4. Then I got to run. Kyle's next. Hey, Kyle.
Hey, what's up, Jake? Jealous of the big fella in Lowski. Nashville's great city. No cover anywhere, live music, walkable to the stadium from downtown.
Nashville's awesome.
So if we trust our veteran leaders, if we trust Rodgers, if we trust Quinnen, if we trust, Sauce and Garrett, and we know they're good players, we can't go from 17-0 to the sky is falling just because of a loss to one of the top 3 teams in the league, clearly, right?
Agreed.
I think that Parkinson is right, that we have a huge bounce-back game loading. We're going to take out our frustrations on the Titans. I don't know that we'll totally fix all the run issues in a short week. I think we'll be better. I think we're going to challenge them to throw the ball with our secondary, as well we probably should. As far as offensively, we have to go in there with the mentality that they can't stop us because, quite frankly, they can't.
They shouldn't. No. I think Brees will play a much better game. I think the run blocking will be better now that they've had a full game. I think there's a lot of signs that point to the Jets being able to put up, anywhere in that 24 to 28 point range. And if the defense is as good as we think they are, even without Reddick, they should be able to go out there and allow way less than that.
We all love Neil. It's always darkest before the dawn. On to the next caller. I know you want to get out the door.
Kyle, excellent job out of you. Appreciate you, my friend. Let's go to Rob, the Jet fan. He's next. Hey, Rob.
Hey, Jake. First of all, Neil, calm down, buddy. You gotta calm down. Guy's going to have a heart attack, my friend. All right. Jake, just give me an extra minute. I know you got to run out the door, but Jake, I tell you, it's obvious that we got outplayed, outcoached, outclassed to the 49ers. Not an embarrassment in the sense that they are the 49ers, and they're a really good team. Initially, when I saw their game on the schedule, I was scared. Day one, I was telling you, oh, no. I was telling you, and I was trying to, get the good vibes and say, hey, maybe we can steal this. But you know what? I don't agree with Neil in the sense that Reddick all of a sudden would have made a ginormous difference. He would have made a difference. Ginormous, not. They still would have lost. Look what Orlasky just exposed us to. They get into the second level of our defense, spread out like that, and they didn't even make that adjustment in halftime. They kept that same thing there. I mean, honestly, Jake, I think one of the big mistakes that they made was not starting Leonard Taylor III. He would have bottled up the middle with Quinnen.
I don't know. I mean, are we sure Leonard Taylor's ready for the primetime week 1 as a UDFA?
Well, Solomon Torres did any better? Did he look good?
No, but at least he's played
Holmes
before. No one looked good. I don't know. I just think it's. I just think we might be overreacting if we're let's put a UDFA out there. He would have made a huge difference.
He would have been a fatty out there. I hate to use that term fatty, but he would have been a fatty out there to stop the run, bottle it up. I don't think he would have done worse than Holmes or Solomon Torres, who got thrown like rag dolls, in my opinion.
Are you calling him Solomon Torres?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of baseball players here. Sorry about that.
Solomon Glaber Torres Thomas.
Might as well been him.
Honestly, I would take Solomon Thomas at second base than Glaber for what I've seen this year. But
oh my God, he's been woeful this year. What the hell's wrong with that guy? A few years back when he was in his prime, Francesa reigned him like
he should still be in his prime. He's not old. That's what's so crazy.
Not.
He's
That's
falling
the
off
whole
a cliff.
thing.
Glaber's 27. He should be in his prime now.
Francesa loved him. Oh, he's so great. You can't trade him. Now the Yankees want to give him away, I think.
Yeah, he'll be gone. He's a free agent.
Yeah, I think so. But back to the Jets. But yeah, I think he would have made a difference, Jake. I think he would have made a difference. But we did get out coached. There's no doubt about it. I mean, Salah's got to definitely prepare well for this game, and we got to give him the benefit of the doubt for now. But obviously, if this kept up, he's not lasting the season if he kept on coaching like this. So a lot of adjustments have to be made. I think we're going to bounce back big. I think also Tennessee will be in the game for a while, and then towards the end, we'll pull away to a 27-14 win, 27-17, 27-14. We're going to win this game fairly comfortable at the end, but in the beginning, they're going to expose a little bit of the line, which we definitely got to fix. But let's please incorporate Mike Williams. Why do we get Malachi? Let's incorporate him, even a sweep or run in the back here, a little screenplay, something. Let's see the Yak King here. So if they get these things in place, Jake, then it's going to fall like a domino, and all of a sudden you're going to blink, and we're going to be 4-1 going into Buffalo.
They should be. If the Jets are the team we think they are, Rob, they should be. That's the whole point. It's frustrating, but it's week one. And the team the Jets are, by the end of the year, should be a team that is better than the team they are now. I mean, remember the Eagles were 10-1 last year, and they fell apart. You want to be playing your best ball at the end. It's a veteran team with new pieces and a quarterback who hasn't played a full game in a year and a half. The arrow to me is pointed up. I just saw somebody come across my timeline on X that the Jet offensive line ranks second in the NFL in pressure plus sack rate. So they got to get the run blocking going to open up some holes for Brees, but the pass protection was very good. And Rodgers, I think, was first in the NFL or second in the NFL in time to release. It was the fastest a Jet quarterback has had a release time since the Mike White game against the Bears in 2022. There's some positives there. I think his offense is going to play well. Tennessee was 26th in that stat that I just gave about the O-line for those who care. So this is not, if they can't put pressure on Levis, then we got problems. All right, if they get run on again, we got problems. But I don't expect that to be the case. Our last caller is NY Jets Florida for our first show. We're back with Parles at 4 today. What's up, Ted?
Thanks, Jake. I wasn't expecting Neil to have a meltdown a la Pilar Castro, but Neil, save that speech. Hopefully not for next Sunday, because you're going to have to give him a little bit of a chance to gel. We have a lot of different pieces moving, playing a superior team. Jake, I really think, even if the defense slides a tiny bit and maybe takes a while to get going, you have Aaron Rodgers now. And I think they basically had a game plan to get him through the game, to somewhat protect him, new offensive line pieces. And I think this is the week where we have we play a legitimate game. Mike Williams is still coming off an ACL. You have, Corley. So I say, let's run a legitimate offense. You got Rodgers through a game. You got the offensive line through a game. I think the offense can compensate for a slow start on the defense. That's the way I look at it. I know you got to go, Jake. That's about all I got. I would say, Neil, just calm down until Sunday, and let's see what we got on Sunday. Thanks, Jake.
Ted, I appreciate it. Hit the like button for Ted. Good call to close us out. Everyone relax. They'll be all right. Keep Rodgers healthy, and I think this offense will get going. I think Brees will have a big game Sunday. The defense will play better. They're the better team. They should find a way to win. It might not be easy, right? Most games in the NFL are somehow within a score going into the fourth. But the Jets should pull away and be the better team. All right, I want to try and restore the vibes at the end here. What you're about to see are 2 fan-submitted videos from what was an epic watch party on Monday. So hopefully you'll be there Sunday as we all cheer on the Jets together at T-Squared Social. Make sure you guys RSVP with the link in the description. I'm back in a few hours with Jet Parles. Enjoy the rest of your day, and Jet fans, bring this energy on Sunday. It's going to be okay.
This Jet fan base is full of chickens. Who gives a shit about next year's draft? If you guys are not going to fly like eagles and throw some goddamn balls, get the hell off the chat and go hang out with Charles Gorman and his mother eating some chicken soup. I'm tired of this shit. If we don't get Tyrone Smith and shore up this goddamn offensive line, I'm done. This is bullshit. Everybody's praising Joe Douglas. I gotta tell you, I'm starting to get pissed. This is the difference between a winner and a goddamn loser. We're a bunch of losers. I'm tired of it. Tyrone Smith's sitting there. What does Joe Douglas say? But draw the line. I will give you $12 million. Wait, you're not going to pay the guy? What are you waiting for? Jesus Christ, I'm pissed.
Disgusting franchise that masquerades themselves as an NFL football team. I hate this team. I hate them. I hate them.
I do love that about Jets fans. You know what I mean? They care so damn much. And this has been a shit season for sure. But we will be back.
Hell yeah.